But now on BBC Radio 4 we begin a new series of afternoon plays. Every day this week we'll be following the adventures of Davy Powlett-Jones in a 5-part dramatisation of a classic novel of life between the wars. We begin today in 1918, and Davy, invalided out of the trenches, faces a new start in life. Part 1 of RF Delderfield's To Serve Them All My Days.
Excuse me, is this Chalacoombe Junction?
That's right, sir.
They said to change here for Bamfylde Halt.
Are you up to the school, are you, sir?
Yes, for an interview. How did you know?
Well, there's not much other reason to go to Bamfylde Halt. You just missed the morning stop, remind? You've a couple of hours to wait.
Oh.
You could walk, I suppose. If that leg of yours can stand it. War wound, was it, sir? Done your bit then. Good for you, sir.
Thank you. How far is it?
Oh, to the school? Oh, 6, maybe 7 mile. Quicker than waiting, though.
Oh, look out, man.
I say. Sorry, sir.
Is this Bamfylde School?
Yes, sir. Just over the rise. Look, sorry, I must dash.
Hold your horses, Nipper, or you'll be in Exeter before tea time.
Sorry, sir. Outram's are leading 5-0, sir.
Well, that must be rattling Nicholson's. Who scored?
Monkey and Batty converted.
Oh, good for Batty. All right, back you go. Keep me posted.
Yes, sir.
And Nipper.
Sir?
Festina lente.
Sir?
Hurry slowly.
Right, sir.
That's Shaw. Nobody's allowed to tell me the rugger score except Nipper Shaw. He was the smallest boy in the school when he came here, so I had to find something to make him feel of value. It worked. Rather too well, I sometimes think. Mr. Powlett-Jones, I presume?
The Reverend Harry.
My apologies for you having to walk. We had a bone shaker till Christmas, but then Stanbury, who drove it, took it into his head to do his bit and joined the Army Service Corps. Oh, I hope to God they don't entrust him with one of those thorny crofts. He's sure to wreck it. Enjoy the walk?
Yes, thank you. The moors, I don't know, wilder than I'd expected.
Good upland air, you see. Oh, yes, your Dr. at Osborne explained his theories at some length, but he's right.
Oh.
You'll get better up here. Nothing gives a man back his sense of perspective like good, clean, upland air.
Reverend Harry's...
Besides, I've never met a Welshman yet who's entirely at home in town, eh?
Maybe.
Well, this is Bamfylde. A bit of a shambles, I'm afraid. We've never been too well endowed, and the war has put the kibosh on the renovations. Come, I'll show you. Three houses. Outram's, Nicholson's, Havelocks, tuck house, stables, armoury. We have a flourishing OTC. Oh, you're in luck, by the way. We're promised crumpets for tea with gooseberry jam. One benefit of being marooned, we have fruit cages. And Ellie, my wife, is a fanatical bottler.
I need to tell you something,
And
sir.
you will, my dear chap. We'll start the interview proper as soon as Ellie pours the tea. Ah, now, this old tree stump, my thinking post. Getting on for 300 years old when it was struck by lightning in 1912. Still very much alive for me, though. I used to climb it regularly when I was a boy here, and just as regularly ended up in detention for my trouble.
You were at school, yeah?
Back in Paleolithic times. Under Wesker. He was a brute. Well, no one can stop me sitting here now.
Oh, Reverend Harry's...
Yes, I'm rattling on, I know. Latrines, opposite. Have to do something about them, war or no war. The only effective flushing we get is by a moorland brook. Well enough this time of year, but as you can imagine, a problem in a dry spell. And the livelier little blighters make paper boats which they sail through after first setting them alight. Gives some of the new boys quite a shock.
You've been more than kind, Reverend Aries, but, I don't see that this will work out.
Oh?
I've no degree, sir. I was planning to go up to Cambridge in the autumn of 1914.
Well, circumstances intervened, yes.
I'm not even sure I want to teach.
Oh, I see. Anything else in mind?
Well, no.
then why not give us a try? You'd be helping me out no end. I'm stuck with a dozen men pulled out of retirement and 2 trainees rejected by the medicals twice over. They do their best, but this overdose of jingoism we've had for so long is rubbed off on the boys. The experience at the front's a flying start. The history's your subject, isn't it?
Modern history was to have been, sir.
Well, could you have a stab at English in the lower school? Basic stuff. We're in a rare old pickle, stuck out here on this moor. We're at the end of every queue there is.
I'm not sure
Term ends in 3 weeks, and it's very quiet in the holidays. You could go into retreat up here. Get your bearings. Who knows, you might stop feeling quite so adrift.
Oh, you can tell then.
How long were you out there?
3 years. Since first deep.
Nightmare still bad?
Oh, yes.
The dreams will be the last to go. Oh, sit down then. Take a couple of deep breaths.
I'm all right, I'm sorry.
In about 1913, first 15, 12 are dead. And one of the survivors lost both legs. We've lost 87 old boys to date. My boys. On July the 8th, 1916, I recorded 8 names in 1 week's casualty list. There's no need to feel isolated, you know. Least of all from me.
Thank you.
So you're a historian. 2 steps up, 1.5 down. That's British history in my ignorant view.
Oh, we've fallen down a lot of steps since 1914.
Yeah, we've taken the tumble. But we'll learn from it. We have to, damn it. Unless all those youngsters were the victims of an obscene practical joke, and I can't let myself believe that. 87 boys. Not many fools amongst them. And no cowards either, not in the true sense of the word. You see, we're all rudderless now, Powlett-Jones. Once the war ends, who knows what sort of world we'll find. And it will end.
I suppose so.
And Bamfylde will go on. You could do worse. And just a moment. Well, Nipper?
Nicholson, sir. 11-5.
What? Great Scott!
Mackey scored a try and Frederick converted. Then Hutchinson scored 2 more tries in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, good old Hutch. Thank you, Nipper. No need to pound down that road for the 5:30. Be our guest tonight. Ellie has shepherd's pie and raspberry fool. Give me your answer in the morning. Now, where the devil are those crumpets? Ellie! Ellie!
Dear Ma'am, Dad always wanted me to be a schoolmaster, I remember. He'd have been proud. It's what I need, I dare say, but can I see it through? Imagine, though, me teaching at a public school. All that tradition. They even have house servants. It's a bit alien, frankly. But then the valleys don't feel like home anymore, so I might as well be out to place somewhere I can do something useful. Bamfylde is a great barn of a place, miles from anywhere, see. Everybody has a nickname, masters and boys. So there are 2 sets of names to learn. I've promised to stick it till Christmas, but beyond that... I teach my first class tomorrow. To be quite frank, Ma'am, I'd rather be going down the pit with you at...
What's in it for me?
Go on, I'll do your Latin prep for you.
All week?
That's a bit much.
Sorry, old chap, can't help you.
All right. But you're pushing it, Chad.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Right, right, sit down. You've been looking at Elizabeth I's domestic policy, I gather. Turn to page 314, please. Now, her grip on the throne being frequently challenged, and given her ever-present concern about the succession, see, Elizabeth and Walsingham constructed an elaborate network of spies and informers. It softens. What is going on?
It's all right, sir.
Only one of boys bit, sir.
Shall I take you some eating, sir?
It happens about once a week, sir.
Fresh air always brings it round, sir. Shall I open the window and loosen the
Yes, you better, yes. Right, silence! Places!
I was only trying to help, sir.
Stand up, sure. You too, boy, stand up. Come on, stand up. Quite a performance. But it needs work.
What do you mean?
It's only fair to warn you, I'm an expert in all forms of hysteria. I should be. I spent the last 7 months in shell shock wards. Suppose I begin by being frank. This is my first day here. You know that. You may not know that it's also my first day in the teaching profession. Teaching in school, at least. Among other things, I've been teaching recruits how to deal with the enemy. Think about that. Because the enemy from now on is you, right? Sit down, both of you, and we'll say no more about it. You deserve far worse, but I'm told that every dog deserves one bite. That was yours.
Sorry, sir. It was only a
tryout.
Yes, sir. And none of us knew about the hospital, sir.
No reason why you should. Has anybody ever tried teaching you more up-to-date history? About the present war, for instance?
Kaiser Bill's trying to rule the world, isn't he?
According to the Daily Mail, he is.
How much longer will it take us to beat him, sir?
We can't beat him now. No, not in the real sense. Not in the way we could have if Gallipoli had been a success. Now we've no alternative but to crush him. Jerry is bled white, but so are we. Our only chance of avoiding a stalemate is the Americans.
Are you saying that we can't beat the Hun without the Yanks, sir?
Not for another 2 or 3 years, and that means no victory. We're fighting to preserve our way of life. That's what the men over there have been told, and that's what they believe, those who still believe in anything except each other. And by the way, nobody over there uses the term Hun anymore. I stopped using it at a place called San Quentin. 2 Germans carried me in a blanket across 400 yards of broken ground under a box barrage. If they hadn't, I wouldn't be here, arguing the toss with you.
I take it they were prisoners, sir.
Yes, and under orders. But shell splinters aren't particular where they find a billet. Those 2 Germans could have done what all the other prisoners did once the barrage started, made a run for it. A fair few of our boys were lying low, too.
Do you mean they were actual cowardice by our own troops, sir?
Not cowardice. Self-preservation. It happens. For all they knew, I was already dead. But 2 German boys risked their lives to save mine. That's worth thinking about, wouldn't you say?
So, Powlett-Jones, you haven't fled kicking and screaming.
Did you think I might?
Well, Ellie would have taken 5 shillings off me if you had.
Well, it was close. I had to hit them a little below the belt.
I knew you had the makings of a schoolmaster. Now, come into the staff room. I want to introduce you. I won't blind you with names. You'll get to know everyone soon enough. That's Bat Ferguson, housemaster at Havelock, cordwainer, known as Judy for reasons lost in the mists of time.
He was a boxer in his younger days, I believe. Packed quite a punch. Hence
Judy, yes.
David Powlett-Jones. And this is Howarth, our formidable English master.
Except the lower school. You're landed with that, I gather?
I'll make sure they're literate when they reach you.
Ah, you profess to be a miracle worker, do you?
Well, I'll do my best.
Well, must bash on. Lower 6 after break.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
You'll learn.
You better do something about Dobson, Ferguson, or he'll be in detention every day for the rest of the term.
Morning, Carter.
Morning, Headmaster. Ah, the new boy. Powlett-Jones, isn't it? Carter's the name. Science. Heard you were out there. We old soldiers must stick together, eh?
Ah.
You were in France?
Well, yes and no, PJ. That's the devil of it. The old knee, I'm afraid. School rugger injury. Damn thing gave out the week my draft was due to embark. Most of them went west at loose, of course. Damned awful show. Badly bungled, I gather.
I was there.
Oh, good show. I was chipper on the parade ground, mind. Top of my class every time. Promising career, everyone said so.
Indeed.
You'll be joining the OTC, of course, PJ, under my command. Train the lads in readiness.
I'm afraid not.
What?
I shan't be joining the OTC.
Well, damn it, man, we could use someone with trench experience. Teach us a few wrinkles, eh? The top brass regard the OTC as the nursery of subalterns.
Then God help the lot of us. Most of those kids don't last 3 weeks out there. They don't even have time to learn when to duck.
You're still convalescent, aren't you, old chap? We'll talk about it later. Now, Ferguson, about young Dobson.
Ignore the poop stick. Most of us do. You could, however, do something for me, if you would, Powlett-Jones.
Yes?
A boy called Briarley. His father was in the Rifle Brigade. The telegram came yesterday, killed on the lease. Mrs. Harris has been with him, but might you have a chat with him?
Oh, what could I say that Mrs. Harris hasn't already said?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps something about all the chaps that have gone before and what it's all in aid of.
None of us know the answer to that, are we?
Probably not. But don't let Carter hear you say so, eh?
Did you see much of him, Briarley?
Not much, sir. When I was a kid, he was mostly in India or Ireland. He came here once on leave. Last autumn it was. We sat here for a bit waiting for the bone shaker to take him to the station.
Did he talk about the war?
Not really. He said if anything did happen, I was to do all I could to look after the mater.
Are you an only child?
I've got 3 sisters, but they're just kids.
Well then, you got a job ahead of you. Your mother will need you badly. That's something to keep in mind, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I suppose so. But I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, there's no need for sorry. It's all right to cry, whatever anyone else says. More than all right, it's important sometimes.
The telegram said... It said killed in action, sir. Does it always mean what it says?
If it hadn't been that way, they'd have written died of wounds. There's a difference.
Thank you, sir. That helps a bit. I better go, sir. I have to pack. Algy, the head, I mean, said I was to go home today till after the funeral.
Yes, of course.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
I like the routine here, ma'am. I started studying for my external degree. The evenings are long and it keeps me occupied. There are times when I feel certain that being at Bamfylde can't work. I'm like a fish out of water most days. But then there are other days, and there are a few kids who really want to think for themselves, and Algy Harry's the head. He's an old fox. He suggested that feeling out of place might mean I'm in the right place after all. That my not being one of them is important to Bamfylde somehow. I assumed he was just trying to make sure he didn't lose another teacher, but when I thought about it later, it made a kind of sense. I don't know.
I have had to make many sad announcements in the last 4 years. And today, it falls upon me to make a happy one. The Kaiser has surrendered. The war is over. There will be a victory dinner tonight in the dining hall, and I expect you all to eat until you burst.
Mind if I join you?
If you want, Howarth.
So you slink off. Obliged you for the hint. Might I prevail on you for a gasper?
Of course.
I imagine you've even less stomach for it than a slacker like me. One of the brightest boys I ever taught was a lad called Bristow Senior. He wrote to me several times from France. He was going into publishing with his stepfather. Would have made a success of it, too. But he had to die at 18. Can you tell me for what?
No. Know why I survived and he didn't.
Ah, that. To help other survivors head in the right direction, perhaps? But war and justice have far different laws, and worthless acts are often done quite well. The rascal's shots were better than his cause, and I was hit, and hit again, and fell. Appropriate, wouldn't you say?
For a whole generation. Whose is it?
Heine, Houghton's translation.
Didn't Heine write a lot about love?
Yes, he did. The old dream came again to me. With May night stars above, we two sat under the linden tree and swore eternal love. Again and again we plighted troth. Stupid of me.
Personal significance.
A long time ago.
Your wife?
I never married. I was about to get married when I was your age. Amy Warren. A pretty girl, Amy, in the style of the day. But she made the right decision. Married a stockbroker instead. It really wasn't the money. She just couldn't see herself as a schoolmaster's wife. I can't blame her. Miserable pay, no real prospects. What sensible woman would take that on?
Do you keep in touch with her?
I haven't set eyes on Amy Warren, Amy Crispin she is now, since the spring of 1906. She has a son, I believe. I'm glad for her. She always wanted a family. What the devil am I banging on about? Come up to my rooms and let's drink ourselves into a stupor.
Oh, I've half a bottle of scotch under my bed.
Good man. I can rustle up some beer, I think, and some rather elderly sherry. Any plans for the holidays?
Not till Easter. Then I'm visiting my family in the valleys. And with a bit of luck, I'll get 10 days in Ross-on-Sea.
I'd say hello! Hello there!
Me?
Could you possibly... My hat! It blew away! So silly of me! There!
Don't worry, I'll get it! There!
I'm so sorry!
I'll bring it up!
No, I'll come down!
But...
What a silly thing to do. I was leaning right out over the pier railing and I didn't think about the wind.
Well, there was no need to come down. I was coming on the pier anyway. Now you've lost your tuppence.
Oh, well, tuppence won't break the bank. Thank you.
Well, it's rather, you know...
Yes, isn't it? But it often gets windy here.
Good. I mean... Are you with... No, after you.
You first.
Well, are you with anyone? Perhaps we could have some tea.
No.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm not with anyone. I've only just had some coffee on the pier, but we could walk along the front for a little way, couldn't we? Oh, dear. First I throw my cap at you, now I'm inviting myself out. You'll think I do this sort of thing professionally.
Not at all. A walk it is, then. I'm David Powlett-Jones, by the way.
David? What luck. That's absolutely my favourite boy's name. It used to be Paul until I had another look at the Acts of the Apostles. Paul was such a killjoy, wasn't he? But David was a proper old rake. Oh, Lord. Elizabeth Marwood. Beth. I shall quite understand if you want to turn and flee.
How do you do, Beth?
Hello, David. You're not fleeing, then?
Not yet.
I am glad. What a nice thing to happen on the first day of the holiday. My sister lives near here. I come upon my unpaid week each spring. You were in the army, weren't you?
How did you know?
Well, all of you who are in the trenches have that same look.
Yes?
No. No, you don't want to talk about it. I'm always getting into trouble on the ward for poking my nose in, but I can't seem to help myself.
Are you a nurse?
Yes, in Swansea.
Oh, I wish I'd had a nurse like you.
Not a chance. Matron wouldn't let us probationers nurse the younger men. She seemed to think it might make them sit up and take notice too quickly. But I can be bossy if I have to, believe me.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
It's my birthday today. Oh. And before you ask, 19.
Well, then we must celebrate. Let me buy you an ice. I mean, if you don't mind.
Of course I don't. Or if you're free, we could have lunch. I know a cafe in town where the food isn't all that bad. House. Geez, for all I know, you've got a girl somewhere. You might even be married.
No, I'd be lucky where I work.
Tell me all about it.
Oh, you'd be bored stiff.
If I am, I'll tell you.
Yes, I think you would. Tell you what, let's go along the prom as far as Ross, then we'll have lunch. And after... Well, I was thinking of taking one of those afternoon charabanc trips to Conwy Castle. You're welcome to come along, but, I almost certainly will bore you if you do.
I can't think of anything nicer.
Oh, good. First started building in 1283. He wanted to surround Wales with an iron ring of castles. We were too rebellious for him, see?
Where on earth do you put all that information, David? You don't even have to look it up.
You'd be surprised how much I have to mug up when I'm taking the upper school. You don't let them see you at it, of course. They have to be bluffed. Like you.
I don't believe you're bluffing. You make it come alive. You should write.
Don't be daft.
Lots of soldiers wrote, didn't they? Poems about the war, I mean. Owen.
Yes. But they were articulate. With me, it was always as if I was experiencing it second-hand. Maybe that's why I survived and Owen didn't.
I'm sorry, David. I didn't mean to make you remember.
Do you know, I don't mind talking about it to you. Now, after Edward had built his castles, he came up with a very ruthless idea.
No more food, David. I'll have to buy a corset.
No, you don't need a corset. There's nothing of you. Oh. I bought you something.
What? When?
When you were powdering your nose. It's nothing really.
David, how wonderful.
Only toffees, but it's a pretty 10.
It's absolutely the nicest present anyone has ever given me. You know just how to impress, don't you? I believe you've had hundreds of girls and years of experience.
I've had far less experience than you.
What?
Well, I mean, you couldn't have had less. I just wanted to say thank you for a wonderful day.
Do you want to kiss me?
Very much.
I thought so. Go on, then.
In the middle of a tea shop, people will see.
I don't know any of them. Go on, I'd like you to. It's all right, Davy. I won't break. There. You see?
That woman with the dead fox round her neck is staring at us.
Yes, but she's smiling. I think she approves.
Have you had lots of boyfriends?
My fair share. Nobody at all like you. All the boys I've known would have taken full advantage of the way I threw myself at you. I'd have been fighting them off by now.
Oh, am I a disappointment?
Quite the opposite. The war made it different for everyone, I suppose. I always felt a bit of a prude for not... I don't think it was squeamishness, it just didn't... I'm still a virgin, Davy, like you.
Oh.
What's wrong with that? You're not the sort to go to one of those brothels out there. You're too fastidious.
You know about that sort of thing?
What do you think nurses talk about in their free time? Knitting?
You really are the most surprising person, Beth. Where should we go tomorrow?
Somewhere you can't spend any more money.
To blazes with that. Well, why don't we book a round trip and explore all the castles? I've never seen Arlecch or Beaumaris.
No, only if I can pay my share. That tour's 10 and 6.
I don't care if it's 10 guineas, my treat.
All right, but I'll buy tea.
You certainly won't. I know you're like Beth, Mum. She's very pretty. No. More than pretty. You'll just have to wait till you meet her. I'll bring her home at half-term. I won't say anything else, not yet. I need to speak to Beth first, and... well, I won't get to see her for another month. I hate being apart from her.
I shan't keep you. The sun is shining, and with 7 weeks summer holiday ahead, I know you've better things to do than listen to me. but do bear with me for a moment. This is the time of year when we say our farewells to the upper sixth. Not goodbye, mind. We expect to see you all back at sports days and old boys' dinners. And if you can't attend, we'll be happy to accept a donation instead. Godspeed, and prosper you in all you do. And this year, I'm delighted to say, those of you returning in September will find a valuable addition to the school. Mrs. Powlett-Jones. I'm sure you all wish to join with me in wishing Mr. Powlett-Jones every happiness in his forthcoming marriage. No, you'll embarrass the poor man. Off you go. Have a good summer. I could have sworn I saw you blushing, Davy.
I was hoping to keep quiet about it.
You're not ashamed of her, are you?
Certainly not.
Then at the round earth's imagined corners blow your trumpet, man, as the poet says. Oh, does she sing? We're doing Pinafore at Christmas, and I penciled her in for Little Buttercup.
I'll ask.
Do. Now, you go off. Don't worry about a thing. Oh, I even managed to find you married quarters, God knows how. One of the cottages down by Miller's farm. You can move in as soon as you're back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Good luck, Powwow.
Powwow?
Well, don't tell me you don't know your own nickname.
Powwow?
Yes. I gather it derives from your consultative methods in class. It's amiable, at least, which is more than can be said for some of them. Don't stand there gawping, man. Away and mount your white charger.
Powwow.
You all right?
Fine, really.
What is it, Beth? Tell me what you're scared of. It can't be me because
you're scared enough for both of us.
Yeah.
It's not that. Nothing to do with you.
Tell me.
I can't, Davy.
Oh, you were so sure of yourself at the church. You're not,
No, of course I'm not. And I'm not scared of being married. It's just... You've got sisters. You grew up in a small house just like ours.
What on earth has that got to do with it?
Everything. You see, something awful has happened.
What?
No, nothing very out of the ordinary. Just horribly embarrassing and very annoying, especially now. Now of all times. Maybe it's the excitement. Maybe I miscalculated.
Oh, come here.
I feel such a fool. I mean, any girl getting married thinks of that if she's got any sense. I know I did. And it's really nothing to laugh at, is it?
Of course it is. In some circumstances, a bride might be relieved.
Not since Victoria's reign, and even then the groom would be entitled to feel diddled.
Oh, I love you. Huh? Time to snuggle up, Mrs. Powlett-Jones.
That's nice.
More than nice.
I wonder what they'll make of me at Bamfylde.
Ah, they'll be hopelessly infatuated. The boys will think you're Mary Pickford in the flesh.
Very proper. Poor little beggars don't get a glimpse of a bit of fluff from one term's end to the next.
Oh, I'm not sure we should encourage them to speculate on bits of fluff.
Why not? They're just at the age where the sex taboos are so incredibly complicated they have to be translated into dirty jokes. If they must have fantasies, and the normal ones always will, then let them be romantic ones. I've got a plan.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to have tea parties at Bamfylde.
No, there aren't that many wives to invite.
I mean, for the boys, silly.
Oh.
Civilised tea parties where boys learn how to talk in mixed company without blushing or getting tongue-tied. Once a week, 6 boys at a time, and any other master's wives who want to come.
You're a bit of a revolutionary on the quiet, aren't you?
That's why I married you. Well, Algy Herries approved.
Ellie will, that's for sure. Oh, Beth. So much to look forward to.
Our little cottage.
Hey, don't get your hopes up, it's not much. Needs a good coat of whitewash all through. We'll have to find some more furniture.
I want roses round the door.
You'd best start digging then. I'm no gardener.
You can learn.
You think I'm capable of anything?
So you are. And I'm not the only one who thinks so.
Who else?
I don't know yet. Your mother?
I thought that it was a very nice hat.
Early warning. Carter's looking for you.
Oh, Lord.
Ah, PJ.
Chocks away.
Glad I've caught you. Cast your eyes over these, would you? Alderman Blunt has donated £500 for a memorial to the Bamfylde dead. I've roughed out a few ideas.
Well, they're all nice enough, but these things are meaningless.
No.
Why can't we have something practical, like a gymnasium or decent kitchen equipment?
Because it's not what Mr. Blunt had in mind. I'm his contact with the school, and
you know what you want.
Well, I know what he wants.
Who is Alderman Blunt, anyway?
The local war profiteer.
He's a very distinguished local citizen, and soon to be governor of this school.
Before the war, he was a tuppenny-halfpenny builder's merchant. Then he got a contract to supply prefabricated huts to the army, and 6 years on, he's a magnate with 40 acres and 2 Rolls Royces.
Oh, I know the type. They got their money by soaking the government when they had no alternative but to pay anything the bastards had the nerve to demand. I've got more time for conscientious objectors.
Well, gift horse, though. Can't look it in the mouth.
No, I slept in barrack huts men like Blunt provided. They were built of unseasoned timber that cost about 7p a foot. It was warmer in a dugout. I wouldn't want his kind of money to feed starving children.
Word of advice, PJ. You're comparatively new here. You don't understand how to handle the locals yet. I do. West Country born, you see. It's in the blood. Played the right way, Blunt will end up endowing us handsomely.
If that war memorial goes up, I'll spit every time I pass it.
I shan't. But then I've better manners.
Oh, I suppose I asked for that, didn't I?
Begged for it. You'll be running short of saliva in no time.
How on earth does one deal with a man who knows everything?
In a place like this, find a nice little spot behind a chimney and snipe.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Powlett-Jones.
You're very welcome, Nipper. I especially like the bread and butter.
Really?
My mater says you have to be specific when you say thank you.
Well, I like the seed cake.
And the scones and the jam. And
All right, cut it on, all of you, come on.
Bye, sir. Bye, Mrs. Powlett-Jones.
Bye, Mrs. Powwow.
Bye, you nit.
Another success, Mrs. Powwow. I'll help you clear up.
No, you've got marking to do.
And I need to start on my Renaissance essay.
Get on with it then.
It's Sunday now, our day of rest. I'm beginning to wish I'd never started this degree.
You need a degree, and it's only a few more months.
I know, but I'm sick of living in the past. It's the present that counts, and the future.
You're getting very Welsh, Davy.
History's alive, Beth, and it's all one piece. I want the boys to understand their own times, but there wasn't a single question on the 20th century in last summer's Cambridge papers.
I'll get round to it in time.
But there isn't time, not if we waste it the way those bloody politicians did at Versailles. Any chance of a just peace was lost in that awful sordid haggling over territory and reparations. We need to get that across. In a book, an intelligent 17-year-old could follow without yawning.
Well, write it, Davy.
Ah, don't be daft. You think I could?
Who better? Now get on with your marking while I wash up.
Oh,
Beth?
I'm all right.
No, put that tray down, let me have
No,
it.
don't fuss, Davy. There's nothing
Oh,
wrong.
very pale. I'll take you to Doc Willoughby.
I've already seen him.
When? What do you mean? What did he say? What's wrong?
Oh, nothing's wrong. He said my condition was...
Condition?
Yes, Davy. I have a condition.
Oh, God.
What I think they call in polite society an interesting condition.
Well, that's not very specific, Beth. I mean, what kind...
Mm-hmm.
Beth.
Yes, Davy.
Oh, you can't be.
It wouldn't be for lack of trying.
Oh, Beth, this is... Sit down, put your feet up. I'll do the washing up. Oh, Beth, this is... Oh, Beth.
Twins, Davy? You're sure?
Doc Willoughby, sure. Due in the spring.
Oh, splendid. We've never had twins at Bamfylde. Oh, you realise this means Ellie will embark upon an orgy of knitting, balls of wool everywhere. I'm not sure I can forgive you for that.
Oh, well, we'll be very grateful. Twins cost a great deal, I'm told, and I want them to have everything, see? Boys or girls, they must have everything.
I understand. But of course, providing for them will be easier on a housemaster's salary. Becoming a prospective father hasn't addled your brains, I hope, Davy.
You're giving me a house?
Havelocks. Well, Bat Ferguson retires at the end of the year.
There are lots of people senior to me. Cordwainer, Howarth...
Well, Judy's health isn't up to it. I offered it to Howarth, of course. He gently declined on condition I offered it to you. Congratulations, Davy.
I won't let you down.
You'd better not. Away, dear chap. Give Beth the good news.
She'll be over the moon.
There's one little favour, though.
Anything at all.
Sadly, Pat Ferguson's sister has passed away. I don't think they were close, but nonetheless he has to be away for a few days. Would you look after Havelocks till his return, a sort of trial run?
Of course.
Oh, there's just one drawback, Davy. That appalling hound of Ferguson's. It can't go with him. His sister lived in a flat. Would you mind terribly?
Put it this way, Algy, if I can't manage a surly mongrel, I won't make much of an housemaster, will I?
Just what Ellie said you'd say. I owe her £0.50.
You're very quiet.
Thinking important thoughts. We'll have to save up for some new wallpaper once we've moved in here for good. We can't live with this.
I don't think Bat cares over much about his surroundings.
There are some quite nice shades of brown.
And this isn't one of them, is it?
No, it isn't. I'm going to turn them, Davy.
I won't be long, then.
Right now, Towser.
Settle down, boy. Hey, you've had your supper. You're not getting any more. Oh, do you make this much noise when Ferguson's working? Right. Charles Martel. Then Pepin the Short. Then Coleman. Then... Enough! Beth needs her sleep, man.
David, can you still sleep?
My God, Towser, you saviour! Fire! 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 Beth, come on.
I'll check the door.
Are they all out to the junior door?
I think so. Briarley's counting them.
Go back to the cottage, Beth.
I'm staying where I am.
You'll be safer at the cottage.
I'm not leaving you.
Take it easy there. The stairs can't burn, you idiot. They're stone. Briarley, are they all out?
House 18, sir. That's the lot from the junior door. What about the annex?
Boya, who sleeps in the annex? Oh, think, man, think.
Two Cassivers, sir.
And they didn't pass you?
It was a rush, sir. Can't be sure.
Right, take the bellboy, go down and line them up in the quadrant, send someone over to the head's house to phone the brigade.
Sir.
Davy, up there! Between the gables! The Cassivers, both of them!
Right, I'm going back in.
No, Davy, you can't!
Hell, I can't leave them up there!
Wait for the fire brigade, Davy!
There isn't time. Get me a rope from the gymnasium, Briarley.
Sir?
A rope, hurry! If I can't go in, I'll climb up the outside, quickly!
I know many of you have lost your possessions, and I dare say some prep went up in smoke, though doubtless not as much as will be claimed. Morning school will recommence after break, and the Havelocks boys will be billeted among the other houses for the time being. We have had word from the hospital. The Cassivers have some minor burns, but are otherwise completely unharmed, thanks to the quick thinking and, may I say, heroic actions of Mr. Powlett-Jones.
3 cheers for Powwow. Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
He's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us.
Well, David? Still feel you don't quite belong?
For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly
Well, who'd have thought it?
he's a jolly good fellow. And so say all of us.
In To Serve Them All My Days by RF Delderfield, dramatised for radio by Shaun McKenna, Davy was played by Oliver Milburn, Algy by John Wood, and Howarth by John Rowe. Alison Pettitt was Beth, Anthony Carter, and Delroy Brown, the station master. The boys were played by Josh Freeborn, Stephen Williams, and Stephen Roberts. The director was Mark Beebe.
Our afternoon play now on Radio 4 is the second episode of our new 5-part dramatisation of RF Delderfield, To Serve Them All My Days. It's 1920 and things are going well for Davy Powlett-Jones. Despite his clashes with the science master Carter, Davy has settled in well to school life at Bamfylde. Even more happily, his wife Beth is expecting twins any day now.
Could you miss that, man?
You're in full cry, I see, David.
Hello, Howarth. Chad Boyer just missed a simple pass.
Tell me no more. Rugby is a mystery to me, and I prefer it to remain that way. Carter's looking for you.
Oh, God. That was forward, referee!
Some graffiti has appeared on the war memorial.
My fault, I suppose. I was probably out there at 3 this morning defacing the blessed thing.
Make allowances, David. Carter can't help having the intelligence of a door handle.
I say, Peter! Quick, behind the pavilion. What is it about that man that makes me behave like a third former?
Of course, there's no shortage of scenery. The route for the cross-country is terribly pretty. Needless to say, you won't be expected to run it.
I'm relieved to hear it. Nature and I have always regarded one another with suspicion, I'm afraid.
And I hope Bamfylde will change your mind.
Morning, Headmaster.
Ah, Davy, let me introduce Mrs. Derbyshire. I've persuaded her to join us to replace Acton. She's a refugee from the flesh pots of the metropolis.
Hello.
How do you do?
Don't worry, you'll soon feel at home here, won't she, Davy?
Yes, I'm sure.
The voice of experience, Mrs. Derbyshire. Powlett-Jones and Bamfylde are rapidly becoming indivisible.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Ah, and here comes Carter. Yes, well, we can catch up with him later. Let me show you the rugger.
PJ! You can't avoid me this time.
I haven't been avoiding you, Carter.
Not entirely true, old man. I want to ask you, whether you have any...
I've seen the graffiti. I don't know who did it. I don't approve of it. And if I discover that a boy in my house is responsible, I will see that he's suitably punished. Will that do, Carter?
Yes, perfectly reasonable, old chap.
Well, were you expecting me to be anything else?
Well, you know, some of the ideas you put forward in your history lessons encourage this sort of thing, don't they?
Goodbye, Carter.
Now, look here, I didn't mean to suggest that you were...
Yes, you did. I'll look into it, as I said.
Sir!
Walk, don't run, boy.
Oh, sorry, sir, but...
Well, spit it out, Skidmore.
A message from Mrs. Harris, sir. Dr. Willoughby's just telephoned. It's your wife, sir.
Is something wrong?
No, she just said to tell you. Sir, it's girls. Twin girls.
Steady on, old chap.
I suppose you're feeling very smug.
Have you seen them?
Ugly little beggars.
They must take after their father, then. Oh, Davy.
I think you're wonderful, I really do.
I am, aren't I? Almost as wonderful as the girls.
I'm not used to girls. What do I do with them?
What would you do with boys?
Teach them to play rugby.
Oh, you're being Welsh again.
I'm excited, aren't I? Indeed to goodness, boy, oh, that I am.
Don't make me laugh. And in case it had escaped your attention, I'm not a boyo.
Oh, I'd noticed, Beth, believe me. We never thought of girls, though, did we? They were going to be David and Jonathan. What are we going to call girls?
Well, my mother's name is Maud, and I have an Aunt Japonica.
Maud and Japonica. Japonica Powlett-Jones.
You would, wouldn't you? To please me.
I didn't know you had an Aunt Japonica.
I don't, silly.
Oh,
but I have thought of some names. What about Grace and Joan?
Why Grace and Joan?
My childhood heroine, Joan of Arc.
And Grace?
Grace Darling, of course. She'll need her strength of character with you as a father.
Grace and Joan it is, then. My girls. Growing up at Bamfylde.
Playing rugby. They'll have huge shoulders, speak broad Devon, and we'll have a job finding them anything but pigmen for husbands.
Hey, I've met some very charming pigmen.
Oh, shut up and kiss me, Davy.
Oh, I don't mind if I do, Carrie.
Oh, stop it.
You should see them, ma'am. Grace and Joan are without a doubt the most beautiful, intelligent, and remarkable children the world has ever seen. Actually, Joan keeps us up most nights. Poor Beth's at her wit's end. Fortunately, Algy has given her semi-permanent leave from being in the school play. There's another teacher here, a Mrs. Derbyshire, who has the most beautiful singing voice. Better than Beth's, I think, though I haven't said that to her. I'm going to get Beth something to say thank you, I think. Perhaps a watch or a little locket.
But it's huge, Davy.
Well, it is quite old.
A monster! Why on earth did you buy it?
It was only £30. Marty Lyle knocked off the £5 because I'm at the school. I wanted to get you something. Because of the twins.
You bought me a car.
Well, it's much more practical than a watch.
But hardly something I can wear on my wrist.
No, and it doesn't tell the time either. But you can drive it into Chalacombe. Exeter even, if you want. We can go for outings on Sundays and in the holidays. It'll stop you being stuck out here all the time.
I don't mind being stuck out here.
Oh, do you like the colour?
It reminds me of that brown in Ferguson's rooms when we first took over Havelock.
It'll be useful for the girls. Doctor's appointments and all of that.
You always think you can get round me by mentioning the girls. I can't drive, Davy.
I'll teach you.
You won't have time.
Get your coat. First lesson in 5 minutes. Come on, hurry up.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Come on.
Were you not too cocoa-plighted, I would say in tender tone, loved one, let us be united, let us be each other's own.
Oh, no. Passion, Blades, passion.
Sorry.
Oh, and to mark my admiration, Davy. Are you all right, Mrs. Derbyshire?
Perfectly. You have a nice voice.
Good. I mean, thank you.
Righto, Davy, back away.
1, 2.
And to mark my admiration, I would kiss you fondly thus.
Well, go on, kiss her, boy. Kiss her? Imagine she's Lillian Gish or Clara Bow or whoever you fancy. Oh, no offence, Mrs. Derbyshire.
None taken, Headmaster.
Go on, put your back into it, boy. No, well, perhaps we'll leave it there for today. Off you go, Blades. 4 o'clock Thursday.
Oh, right.
And tell Spats Winterbourne I expect him to be word perfect by then. He ought to know the drill, his mother being on the stage.
Winterbourne's mother, Spats Winterbourne from my house.
But didn't you realise his ma's Viola Winterbourne, star of stage, screen, the more dubious elements of the press?
I must tell Beth, she liked her in that dreadful film about the morphine addict.
Oh, that. Tilly liked it too. Spats is all right, isn't he?
I'd say so. A bit of a lost dog, I sometimes think. Takes his responsibilities as a prefect very seriously. He's rather a quiet boy.
And with a mother ready to give her opinion on anything from the afterlife to the black bottom, I expect he prefers being quiet. Now, come on, Blades, off with you. Haven't you got prep to do?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, everyone. That's it for tonight.
Oh, good. I promised Beth a driving lesson.
Again, you're a tartar, man, a tartar. Mrs. Derbyshire, you're a marvellous young.
Thank you.
First rate. Moustache.
Good night, Headmaster.
Good night, Mr. Harris. I can't help feeling I'm not up to your wife's standard.
Oh, you're doing beautifully. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Night.
I think I've picked up your script by mistake.
Oh, yes, this is yours. Here.
Could we, if you've got time, go over a couple of scenes?
I've got half an hour. What did you particularly want? What's this?
Oh, I was hoping you'd find it later.
A letter? Why are you writing to me?
Read it, please.
Oh. Oh, I see. It's impossible, you must see that.
At least you didn't say it was ridiculous.
You know, I should report this to the headmaster.
Will you?
Not if you promise to forget about it immediately.
I can't do that.
I mean every word.
I'm sure you do, and I'm very flattered. I shan't report to you, but nor will I mention it again. I suggest you do the same. Off to prep now.
Can't we talk about it?
I think it would be better if we forget about it. Prep. Now.
All right. Julia.
Mrs. Derbyshire.
Mrs. Derbyshire. Good night.
Oh, dear, Keith.
There's been a mistake in parcel handout, sir. This isn't an Outram's parcel. It's for Voss. He's in Mr. Powlett-Jones's house.
Oh, why come to me, Dobson? Take it straight across to Havelock's. Face down the Red Menace. Enter the gates of the Kremlin.
Yes, sir.
Carter?
Ah, PJ. Didn't see you there.
So I assumed.
Beg your pardon?
Red Menace. Kremlin, Carter.
Oh, just my little joke. Don't you make jokes sometimes?
Not that sort.
What are you driving at, old man?
Well, you know bloody well that was a personal jibe at me.
I made a small joke at your expense. How many of you made it mine? I won't discuss this in a public place.
Damn well will. Unless I get an apology.
You've got a nerve. Coming here, foisting your filthy principles on impressionable boys.
What?
You don't belong here. If I had my way, you'd be out on your ear. And don't think the governors don't know what you're up to.
Oh, you've told them, I suppose.
Yes, I have. Twisting facts to support class hatred, that's not history, it's Bolshevism, and damn unpatriotic.
Oh, I suppose it was unpatriotic. Spent 3 years in the front line, fighting for trench dodges with Gary Lee.
You bastard!
Go on, hit me, I dare you.
Damn well will.
Go on.
It's his fault. The man's mad.
Snivelling little git.
You here. Take your breath now.
All right, I'm sorry. It was unforgivable, I know.
How the hell do you think you're going to maintain discipline when you behave like a couple of second forms?
It was Powlett-Jones, headmaster. He made the vilest accusations. I told him to stop, but he'd...
Take yourself off, Carter. We'll discuss this later.
I shall be making a formal complaint to the governors and to the police.
Davy, what?
I know. There was no excuse, but it made me feel better, dear. Perhaps he's right, perhaps I don't belong here.
Davy.
Don't worry, headmaster. My resignation will be on your desk in the morning.
Davy, don't be ridiculous.
You're being ridiculous.
So everyone keeps telling me. I'm going to look for another job.
What will you do? Be a postman?
I'll teach, of course.
Do you think you won't find a Carter in every school?
No.
Your tactics were amateur, Davy.
I've had all I can take of that man.
You started it.
I won't work with him, Beth.
You gave him an opening.
I'm not ashamed of being working class. I won't apologise.
It's nothing to do with being working class.
Oh, of course it is. He started as an officer. I was an enlisted man. It all goes back to the war.
Not the war, you ass. Your war record. You were decorated. You made your way up to being an officer. You think Carter could ever have done that? He's jealous as hell.
Still, he's right. I don't belong here.
Davy, if anyone ever belonged anywhere...
No, I don't. Not really.
Go ahead, then. Resign. But I thought when I married you that you were the sort of man to see things through.
That wasn't fair.
Yes, it was. Don't you realise that people look to you for a lead?
Who?
Algy, for one. Why else are you the youngest housemaster in the county?
Ah, that's nonsense, Beth.
It isn't. It's what matters, and it's what Bamfylde's about. You and Algy believe in real education, letting the boys develop their individuality. All Carter and his crowd care about are exam results. You once said to me that it's the present that counts and the future. Well, you have to fight for what you believe in.
I don't know what I believe in.
Yes, you do. You're that angry young idealist I married, remember?
Oh, Beth. What would I do without you?
I dread to think. Now go for a nice long walk and don't come back till you're in a better mood. You can bring me some marsh marigolds if you like.
Hey, I'll see you later. Ridiculous, man. Pompous little... And I have better things to be doing than collecting damn stupid flowers. Oh, God.
Juliet. Stop it, Keith.
You promised.
I want to kiss you again.
You know what they say about I want.
You feel the same. I know you do. Come here. This is all I need.
Aren't you any happier? You look like you've stepped on an adder.
Not an adder. Where are the twins?
In the garden. Davy.
I've just seen Mrs. Derbyshire and young Blades necking down in the coombe.
What exactly do you mean by necking?
What do you think I mean? Kissing?
Only kissing, that's something.
Something I have to report. Blades is in Carter's house. He's due to take his Cambridge senior next month.
You have to be careful, Davy.
Yeah, I realise that, thanks.
How old is he?
17. She's about 24, I guess. I hardly know the woman. I don't think I've spoken to her apart from rehearsals. Damn it all. Blades isn't stupid. He must have known what he was about. I need to tell Algy.
No, not until you've talked to her, and Blades, if that's necessary.
I can't accept responsibility for a thing like this.
You can find out more before you act. You could ruin the boy's future and Mrs. Derbyshire.
She doesn't deserve a future. Not in teaching, anyhow. You can't put someone like that in charge of 12-year-olds.
It's not a 12-year-old that's proved the problem, Davy. Talk to her.
Who is it?
Powlett-Jones, Mrs. Dobson.
Hello. Have I missed your house?
No, it's nothing to do with the play.
Oh dear, you look very serious.
There's no nice way around this, I'm afraid. I saw you and Blades in the coombe last night.
Ah.
I take it you weren't rehearsing the Mikado?
No. Have you been to the Head?
Not yet.
Will you?
It depends.
Yes, of course. We haven't been lovers, if that's what you're afraid of. We haven't been and wouldn't have been. Not here.
Algy would have to sack Blades for this, you realise. And I think the boy has a bright future.
Too bright to want to get himself involved with a woman 8 years his senior.
That isn't what I meant.
I'm sorry. You're handling this very nicely. I shouldn't be ungrateful.
How did it start?
I'd rather not tell you.
Then I'll have to ask Blades or report it to Carter, his housemaster, and
No, please, not Carter. Can you imagine how he'd go about it? Keith wrote me a poem. It was rather good. A pastiche of Herrick. When as in silks my Julia goes, then, methinks how sweetly flows the liquefaction of her clothes. That's my name, Julia. Did you know?
Yes, I know that.
I told him it was ridiculous. But no, actually, the word I used was impossible. He was upset. He needed to talk. It would have been careless not to listen, to try to comfort.
Forgive me, but wasn't that carrying comfort a little far?
I've no excuse. I know that. You were in the war, weren't you? See that photograph by the clock? Would you pass it to me?
Yeah.
This was my husband, Arthur. I say was because he's just as dead as the million others in France, even though I'm still married to him. We had 1 week together before he was posted. What's left of him is in the Veterans' Hospital at Netley, and likely to stay there as long as the government persists in regarding euthanasia as a crime, not a duty. I'm embarrassing you, I'm sorry.
No.
Keith was the first person since I came here who talked to me. Really talked to me.
I'm sorry.
I know I was wrong. I said my piece to Keith, all the right things, all the proper things, and he stood and listened and smiled, and I knew I was lying to myself and to him. I ended up in tears. Keith put his arms around me and kissed me, just once, that first time, and on the forehead. He held me and didn't say anything. I liked it. He'll make some girl a wonderful husband one day. I hope it's soon, and I hope she appreciates him. After all, it's not as if I'd never known what it was like with a man. I had that week. Then I come here and surround myself with 200 healthy male animals. I should have made myself better. Will you go to Mr. Harry's?
22.
Oh, I'll resign. You needn't worry. I'll tell Keith there's good news from the hospital that I have to go to my husband. He's still young enough to believe in the nobility of self-sacrifice. Will you trust me to do that?
Oh, of course.
I'm afraid your wife might have to stand in as Yum-Yum.
I'll warn her. I'm really very sorry, Mrs. Derbyshire.
Oh, I'll survive. One always does, don't you find?
Well?
Oh, you were right as always. She's leaving.
Good. There's a note for you. One of the Outram's boys brought it over. Carter?
Yes.
An apology?
I suppose. I should not have lost my temper in that fashion. It was unprofessional of me. He doesn't actually say sorry at any point.
What do you want? The moon? Write a note back. I'll get Voss to drop it over before supper. And we can all go to bed happy.
I don't feel much like burying the hatchet except in Carter's head.
Davy.
all right. I'll do it. For a quiet life, if nothing else.
Monkey.
I found a grey hair this morning, ma'am. I was mortified, but Beth just laughed. Did that start going grey early? Beth said it would help my teaching career if I looked distinguished, but I don't think it's right. The twins are fine and send their love. Now they can talk, they never stop. They keep asking when we can come back to visit. We will definitely see you in the summer holidays. One more hurdle to get over first.
It's come.
Oh, God.
Do you want me to read it?
No, I don't. Give it here.
Well?
I'll open it later.
You will not. Come on, Davy. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. Davy?
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
They haven't failed you.
Have a look.
Dear Mr. Powlett-Jones, you're pleased to enclose the final results of your external degree. A first. Davy, you got a first.
Oh, that's what it says, yes.
A first. Oh, I knew you could do it. Oh, I do love you.
I want your permission to let slip the news of your splendid achievement in the staff room.
Oh, that's hardly necessary. It's an external degree, after all.
Judging from my time at Oxford, I think they work you harder for external degrees. And I can't wait to see Carter's face when he hears. He only managed a second.
Did he now?
I've always admired that particular shade of puce he goes when he's furious. What do you think?
I think you're a wicked old man, and your suggestion is both undignified and malicious.
So I can tell him then?
Of course you can.
So, no more cramming, no more spending your evenings scribbling essays. What will you find to do with your time?
Beth has plans. She's got it into her head that I should write a book, a history book. Something approachable and interesting without being lurid.
Ah, what I could have achieved with a good woman to chill me onwards.
Daft. All that work with no guarantee anyone would ever read it. Who'd want to publish me?
But if you were to do it, do you have a subject in mind?
Oh, yes. Margaret of Anjou. Now, there was a woman. A tigress. But I'm not going to write a book. You doing anything special at half term?
A few days in London. I have tickets for Under the Balcony with Viola Winterbourne.
Oh, that had good reviews.
I saw her in the Shrew last year. It suited her. A pity Spats doesn't have her talent. He was hopeless in the Mikado last Christmas. But don't change the subject, man. I want to know more about this book of yours.
Oh, Beth's spoken to you, hasn't she?
Possibly.
The pair of you can stop plotting. I'm not writing a book.
It's a rule. Everybody's done it. You're just yellow.
What the devil's going on here?
Pow wow.
Huh? Ainsworth?
We were just teaching Skidmore how to make his bow. He's a first-termer. He's a bit bucky, sir.
We gave him a chance of doing it on his own, but he wouldn't.
We had to make him.
What on earth are you talking about?
You know, sir, everyone has to bow to the founder's statue in their first term.
It's a tradition.
I don't give a fig for that kind of tradition. It's just an excuse for bullying.
But, sir...
The next time I see you roughhousing a new boy, I'll devise a tradition of my own and you'll be at the receiving end of it. Is that clear?
Yes,
Right. Off you go. Oh, Skidmore.
Yeah?
It's all right, you've done nothing wrong. But why did you stand out against them? Wouldn't it have been easier to make the bow?
No, sir. It's like an image, sir. You don't bow to images. It's in the Bible.
Are you pulling my leg?
No, sir.
What's your father, Skidmore?
A minister, sir.
What denomination?
Wesleyan Methodist, sir.
I see. All right, Skidmore, off you go.
Everything all right, sir?
Yes, thank you, Chad.
Only Skidmore's in my dorm, sir. And if there's something wrong...
Well, that's very thoughtful.
Well, he cried himself to sleep the first week, so I've been keeping an eye out. He seems all right now.
Yes. Carry on, eh? Keeping an eye out.
Yes, of course, sir.
Right, thanks, Chad.
Rather delicate, this, Davy. Have you seen the news of the world?
No, I got better things to do on a Sunday than read tomorrow's chit paper.
Your taste does you credit, my boy, but I wasn't checking up on your reading matter. There was a very prominent story today, front page, in fact.
What about?
Viola Winterbourne looks unquestionably fetching in a bathing dress.
Oh, what has she said now?
It's not what she said, Davy. It's what she's done, or alleged to have done. It looks to become a rather sensational divorce case. Next few weeks, in fact.
Oh, God. Poor Spats.
The wretched woman appears to have been more than indiscreet. And you know how these press Johnnies will say anything if you're in the public eye. It's deuced embarrassing for the lad.
He knows.
Well, I had to tell him. But we must take steps to see that everyone else doesn't find out. I'm stopping all deliveries of newspapers to the school while this is going on. I can't have the other boys making Spats life hell. It's inconvenient, I know.
No, I'm sure none of us will object.
And you'll look out for him.
Of course. But isn't it better if I don't make an issue of it? If I try to talk to him, it might make things worse.
Well, it might, or it might not. Do what you think is right, Davy.
We have a visitor.
At this time of night. Howarth.
I'm sorry to disturb you, David, Elizabeth. I just walked back from the Hopgood Arms.
In this rain?
It's all right, I'm not pie-eyed. I did not walk back alone.
Now I am intrigued.
If that means what I think it means, Elizabeth, then I fear I must disappoint you.
Shame.
I'm too old and too tired for all that, my dear.
Then I must make you up a tonic.
My companion on that homeward journey, David, is waiting outside your door. Boyer?
Oh, sir.
Chad, you are doing so well.
I found this, soon perhaps to be ex-prefect, in the public bar, drinking half a pint of beer, no less.
In uniform?
Boyer?
Actually, no, sir. Not in uniform.
Then what were you wearing?
I'll leave you to it. He's already upset my digestion quite enough for one evening.
No, thanks, Howard.
Good night.
Well, what were you wearing?
A smock, a felt hat and a false beard, sir.
God in heaven.
Mr. Howarth is a real sport. He waited till I left before he collared me. I thought I got away with it.
But why on earth are you going to be wearing...
I don't really know. Exhibitionism, perhaps.
Oh, exhibitionism, my good right boot. Don't quote fancy Freudian words at me. How can I keep you on as house prefect now?
Sir, but...
Don't interrupt me.
But you have to see this. It's the news of the world, sir. It was in the pub. There's a lot in it about Winterbourne's mother.
Oh, Lord.
There's a very spicy bit about how she felt when she slept with her fancy man.
Hey.
Sorry, sir, but everyone was talking about it in the pub. They know Spats is a pupil here, you see.
You haven't mentioned this to him, have you?
Of course not.
How does he seem to you?
All right. I told him he was picked for fly half in the house match on Wednesday. It seemed to cheer him up.
I'll warn the head. All right, boy, thank you. We'll leave the other business in abeyance for the moment, but consider yourself warned.
Yes, sir. It won't happen again.
I trust not. Now cut along.
Are they allowed to print things like this?
Unfortunately, whether or not they're true,
I'll speak to Algy first thing in the morning.
Oh, yeah, all right. All right, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Headmaster.
Davy? What on earth, sir?
It's Winterbourne, Headmaster. He's gone.
What do you mean, gone?
See, the bed wasn't slept in, sir. I got up early to cram for a test. He must have slipped down the fire escape in the night.
I'm sorry about the time, but I thought that...
No, absolutely right.
What do we do?
Well, the first thing we do is stop panicking.
But
slow down. Any idea where he might have gone, Chad?
I don't know. To his father?
He couldn't have caught a train.
There's the milk train from Chalcombe at 3:30. It stops at all the halts to pick up churns. If he hopped on that, he could have reached Taunton by 5 and got the fast train to Paddington.
There's one that gets in at 9:10, sir. I looked it up.
Well done. Did anyone check his locker?
Yes. It's difficult to be sure, but I think he's just taken a sweater and plimsolls. His suits are still there, and this.
Oh, the news of the world. How on earth did he get hold of that?
It wouldn't be hard, sir. They're all over the village.
Well, we'd better find him, hadn't we? Why would he just take plimsolls in this weather?
Old Tapscott at Bamfylde station would have recognised him for sure. He might have run onto Crosshays. I would.
He'd be like a drowned rat if he had.
Shall I phone his father?
At this hour? The boy can't possibly be in London yet. Get that car of yours and drive over to Crosshays. Check the farms. But make it casual. Don't let them see we're much concerned, eh?
Shall I round up the prefects?
No. But if we... Just 4 or 5 trustworthy seniors will go through the motions of the lost, stolen or strayed drill.
I'll get them now.
And have the whole place in an uproar. It's 5:30, for heaven's sake. Leave it till after breakfast. He won't have gone far. Damn it, you can hardly see 3 feet in front of you in this rain.
Headmaster, you don't...
No, I don't. Calm down, man. Winterbourne's not the time to do something silly.
I hope to God you're right.
Well, this is not the first time a boy's run away from school, PJ. Even, believe it or not, from Bamfylde. Boyer, you come back after breakfast. I'll have mapped out some likely routes. Davy, you go and have some hot coffee. And then take the car out. We'll rendezvous back here at midday.
Right.
It's almost dark.
I blame you, PJ. He's in your house. It's your responsibility.
He might be right, Beth.
Oh, I am.
Stop it, all of you.
We're going to have to get the police in on this, Headmaster, despite Winterbourne's father.
You know, I'm beginning to understand the boy's problem. That man might have been discussing a lost suitcase.
Well, it's actually not so wide of a mark, is it? Looks smart enough, but not much inside.
Carter, please.
Well, I'd hardly call this intelligent behaviour.
Won't the papers get hold of it if we call the police?
Well, can't be helped. We'll have to report him missing. I dare say we'll get a wigging for not doing it earlier.
But you're still not really worried, are you?
No. I'm extremely irritated. I'm very concerned about him being out on a night like this. But when you've been here as long as I have, you come to rely on that little barometer up here. Well, there's nothing more we can do tonight. I suggest we all get a good night's sleep and start again at first light. Good night.
Good night, Headmaster.
Headmaster.
Don't worry, David. He'll turn up.
Bad pennies always do.
Come along, Carter.
You're worried sick, aren't you?
Of course I am. I could strangle Viola Winterbourne with one of her own silk stockings.
It's all right. Calm down.
Oh, you'll catch pneumonia out there.
Algy's right. There's nothing you can do tonight.
I could take the car out.
You'll do no such thing. Not until first light at the earliest. Oh, hell. I was supposed to drive the twins into Chalcombe tomorrow for their inoculations. I'll cancel it. You need the car.
Oh, better not. That diphtheria scared us still. No, you drive into Chalcombe. I'll manage.
You're sure?
I'm as sure as I am of anything now.
There's me, Davy. You can be sure of me.
I know. And I thank God for it.
Grace, don't hit Joan. It isn't nice. Oh, God, now the roof's leaking. Damn this storm. Grace, I told you. Shall we sing a song, make the rain go away? I know, come on, you know the words. 3 little maids from school are we. Hard as a schoolgirl well should be. See, that's us. 3 little maids.
Sit down, Davy.
It's bad news, is it? They found him.
Who? Oh, Winterbourne? No, not yet.
Have this, David.
Brandy, why would I want brandy now?
Do sit down, Davy.
I'm perfectly all right. What's happened?
I'm afraid there's been an accident, Davy. On Quarry Road. One of Ben's lorries. The brakes failed completely, I'm afraid. Your little car didn't stand much chance.
The twins?
Grace is in intensive care at the hospital. I'll drive you down there straight away.
What about Joan? She's dead, isn't she?
Yes, I'm afraid she is.
Is Beth at the hospital? I better get down there. She'll need me.
Davy, I'm so sorry.
Beth's dead too, David.
Oh, don't be silly.
We'll call him at Doc Willoughby's on the way to Chalacombe. He'll give you something to ride out the shock.
Dead? Beth? Oh. It's different, Howarth. Out there everybody was going to die. It was just a matter of how and when.
Oh, you got through that.
Not this.
David.
Not this. I can't go to Chalacombe. I can't identify her. Someone else will have to do that, eh? I have to get out of here, sorry.
Sorry, David!
Let him go. He needs to go.
Why not me, you bastard? Why not me? You didn't deserve it. Beth!
Mr. Powlett, sir! Oh, you're drenched through, sir. It's a hell of a storm, isn't it? Never seen one like this before. This way, sir. Over here. Over here, sir. Come on. Mind your head, sir. Here. Peel off and rub yourself down. I've got a towel somewhere. It's a bit grubby, I'm afraid, sir. Here. Sir? You better get dry, sir. Winterbourne. I've got some things here. Might be a bit small for you, sir.
Oh, you've been here all the time, haven't you?
Oh, yes, yeah. I found this place last Easter. I often come here when I need to get away, sir. Suppose you were out looking for me.
Everybody is, including the policeman.
Oh, well, I'll be sacked anyway. Were you lost, sir?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I was lost.
Has something happened? Sir?
My wife was killed this morning.
Oh. I've got some whiskey here. Please, sir, drink some. Oh, it's all right. I'll hold the bottle steady, just a sip at a time. Easy, sir, easy. Oh, she wasn't out looking for me, was she?
Oh, no. No, she wasn't looking for you. She was driving the twins into Chalacombe.
Are they safe, sir?
One was killed. Oh, the other seriously injured. Oh. I dare say she's dead by now.
We'd better start back. It doesn't take an hour, even with...
I want to stay here.
You have to know, sir.
Let me stay here.
You can't.
Go, Winterbourne.
Your daughter needs you there, sir.
Yes.
Put this jacket on. No, it might rip, but it doesn't matter. Come on, sir. Hurry.
Come in.
Am I disturbing you?
God knows I could do with the company. Sit down, Chad. You can stay till silence bell. Would you like a cigarette?
Thanks.
What did you want?
Well, it's a bit awkward, really. The other chaps wanted me to tell you how they felt, sir, about... We all like Mrs. Powlett-Jones. I know talking doesn't do a damn thing. It doesn't help, sir, but they wanted you to know.
Thank you.
How's Grace?
Oh, it'll take months for the bones to knit together, but she'll survive. She'll survive. It's me I'm not so sure about.
Oh, come on, sir.
This is going to take some weathering, Chad. Frankly, I can't see myself making it.
That's daft. I'm sorry, sir, but it's just not you at all. We need you here.
Would you mind telling me why? The way you might discuss it with Dobson or some other boy. I don't know if I'm going to stay on, but if I am, I need to know why.
But that's... You have to stay on.
I don't think I can. See? This was our home.
But you must. Look, this isn't flannel, sir. But you get through to people the way other masters can't. You make it mean something.
Can't I do that somewhere else?
Not like you can here. You learn the trick of it here. You're part of the place, just like Algy. The head, I mean. I never gave a damn about history before you taught it.
History, boy.
Maybe I'm talking a lot of rubbish, sir, but I don't think so. There's the silence bell. I have to check the junior dorm. Thanks for the cigarette. I won't tell anyone. You belong here, sir.
I get the message, Chad.
You think about it?
I'll think about it.
In part 2 of To Serve Them All My Days by RF Delderfield, dramatised for radio by Shaun McKenna, Davy was played by Oliver Milburn, Algy by John Wood, and Howarth by John Rowe. Anthony Carth was Carter, Juliet Aubrey, Julia, Alison Pettitt, Beth, and John Cummins, Keith Blades. Anthony Glennon played Spats Winterbourne, and Nick Sace, Chad Boyer. The boys were played by Josh Freeborn, Stephen Williams, and Stephen Roberts. The director was Mark Beebe.
But now, our dramatisation of RF Delderfield's classic novel continues here on BBC Radio 4. It's 1926, and the general strike has arrived, bringing with it the prospect of major changes at Bamfylde. Davy has buried himself in school life to try to forget the death of his wife, Beth, and their eldest daughter, Joan. What spare time he has left is spent working on the history book that Beth urged him to write. Part 3 of To Serve Them All My Days.
I'm not interrupting, David.
Glad of it, Howard, frankly. Come in. Pour yourself a sherry.
Book going well?
I've been trying to get to the end of this chapter before Grace gets back from her grandmother's. The trouble with the 15th century, there are so many feuding barons rushing around, it's starting to feel like the Keystone Cops.
Have you got a publisher?
Lord, no. I'll wait till it's finished before I let anyone see it. By then, I'll know whether to take it to the post office or just to the latrine block.
Have you seen Algy tonight? He was looking for you.
A problem, do you think?
You're a housemaster, David. Have you ever known a day without a problem?
Is something up, Bedmaster?
No, dear boy. Well, yes, I suppose something is up, as you put it. Me, Davy, my time is up.
Ah.
I'm retiring. I should have gone long since, of course. Made way for a younger man, new ideas.
There's nothing wrong with your ideas.
That's very kind, Davy, but not everyone thinks so. No, the time has come for me to gird my loins for life without Bamfylde.
I can't imagine it. What will you do?
I'll be over the hill.
Never.
No, I mean it literally. We've taken a cottage at Yatton under Edge, just over Chalford Hill. Ellie will flourish as a pillar of the WI. There's a lot of jam to be made, Davy. I hope you and Grace will come over regularly to partake of it.
You can rely on it.
The governors have kindly offered me a seat on the board, so I shan't feel entirely abandoned by Bamfylde. I shall formally announce it after half-term, but I wanted you to know first.
Oh, that's good of you, but why?
Carter is bound to apply for the headship, and he'll have Alderman Blunt on his side. Well, there's no telling whether they'll appoint an internal candidate. In Carter's case, that would be an infernal candidate, I venture, but you'll need time to think about it before you apply.
Me?
Come now, Davy. You're too old for the blushing virgin routine.
Oh, I'm too young to be a headmaster.
You think so?
Well...
doubt. That's what I like to see. I've put in a word with Brigadier Cooper, strictly entre nous, and he authorised me to encourage you. I have to remain strictly impartial, of course.
Of course. But I don't think I'm ready.
I'll tell the brig you'll think about it. What are you doing for half-term?
A few days in London. Research mostly, a couple of shows maybe. Then off to Wales to collect Grace from my mother's.
Will there be any trains if this wretched strike goes ahead?
No, I don't mind a bit of inconvenience in a good cause.
There speaks a miner's son and proud of it.
Yeah, just don't mention it in the staff room, eh?
Dear boy, this is the modern world. We fought a war for free speech, didn't we?
Tell that to Carter.
Oh, Carter has his faults. We all know that. But so do you, Davy. So do all of us. Carter's deuced bright. Exam mad, of course, and almost certainly thinks me an old fool for not being. But he has a point. Life is more competitive these days. My advice would be to call a truce with him.
Oh, that's good advice.
Are you going to take it?
There's a question.
I said, Mr. Powlett-Jones.
Hello. Oh, Mrs. Derbyshire.
Oh, you certainly walk quickly. It must be all that striding out across the moors.
Where on earth did you spring from?
I saw you across the foyer. I thought I'd lost you. Wasn't it a dreary play?
And dreary is generous, I'd say.
What are you doing in London? Don't tell me you've abandoned Wuthering Heights.
Only for a couple of days. I've been doing some research, actually.
You certainly look abominably healthy.
I suppose I am, yes. And you look...
exhausted and terribly thin.
Nonsense.
Please, I've no illusions. I had a rare afternoon off, and I've gone and wasted it on a terrible matinee. But now I've met you, so the day isn't quite ruined. I'm sorry, I must be keeping you.
No, really.
I just wanted to say I heard about your wife's accident, and I'm really very sorry. I nearly wrote 12 times, but it didn't quite... Well, to be honest, I wasn't sure you'd welcome a letter from me after everything that happened the last time we met.
Oh, that's long forgotten, after.
You'll be pleased to know I haven't fallen for any more schoolboys. Anyway, that's all. Nice to see you again.
I was popping into Lyons for tea. Won't you join me if you have time?
I have time. Are you sure?
Excellent scones.
Not bad. No, they are excellent. That was a little bit of professional bitchiness, I'm afraid. I manage a rather fashionable tea shop in Old Bond Street these days.
Oh.
This place is the competition.
Quite a change from teaching.
The pay's a lot better, too. The waitresses are a nice bunch of kids, and I get a free hand running it. Every now and then a celebrity pops in and gives me the illusion I'm back in the swim. The wide-open spaces were never for me, and I was an idiot to think that they were.
How's your husband?
He died during an operation about a year after your wife.
I'm sorry.
It was a relief for both of us. He was never out of pain. Your loss was very different. More tea?
Thanks.
Did you ever hear from Keith Blades?
The schoolboy of my scandalous downfall. Just once, actually. And only about you.
Me?
I told him about your part in it. I thought I owed it to both of you.
No, I never said anything.
He's naturally discreet. I doubt he'll ever mention it until he meets the right girl, marries her, and lays his murky past on the table the way men do when they've sown their wild oats. Shall we share that last scone?
All right.
Your daughter.
Great.
How old is she now? 4?
6, I'm afraid.
Oh, dear, Tempest is fidgeting madly, isn't it? Does she remember the accident?
Yes. She's recovered well, I think, though she has a slight limp and always will.
And she remembers her mother?
I asked her that quite recently. She remembers 2 things. Beth singing and the tea parties. Grace has decided she wants to take over giving tea parties for new boys.
At 6? How lovely. Will you let her?
I don't know.
You should.
Yes, perhaps I should.
I've enjoyed seeing you again, David, but I should go now.
Are you sure?
Quite sure. But if you're in London again, do come to the shop for tea. My treat.
Well, I should be up quite often, I expect, for research. Beth wanted me to write this book, see?
It still hurts dreadfully, doesn't it?
I'm more or less over it in every practical sense, but I can't imagine ever forgetting.
One never does. But you move on, you have to.
Yes. Whereabouts in Old Bond Street is your tea shop?
What is it, McNaughton? I'm on lunch duty in a minute.
Oh, sir. I'm in a rare old fix, sir. It's the sixth form debate tomorrow. The proposition is the trade unions were not justified in supporting the Miners' Federation in the recent general strike. I volunteered to present the TUC case.
At Bamfylde? You're backing a lame horse, aren't you, Paddy?
Probably, sir. But it's another chance to have a crack at the oppressors. You know the drill, sir. Anyone heaving a bomb at Westminster is welcome in Ireland. I only volunteered for devilment, but now I'm stuck with it, and to be honest...
You don't know the first thing about it, eh?
Not a damned... Oh, excuse me, sir.
Who's opposing him?
Sanders. He's hot stuff, and he does his homework. Can you brief me?
Yes. All right. Come up to my rooms after prep.
Oh, thank you, sir. I say you wouldn't...
What?
I can't find anyone to second me. Won't you? We could pull the pants off them between us.
It's a sixth form debate, Paddy. Wouldn't be very fair on Sanders, would it?
He's got Mr. Carter, sir.
Has he?
What is most damaging to the fabric of our great land is that this irresponsible strike, spearheaded by the Miners' Federation, has damaged trade. That damages every decent citizen at a time when we're still recovering from a war fought to preserve our freedom. The miners have broken their deal, gentlemen, and put you and every member of your family in jeopardy. And for what? For money. That's not democracy, it's greed. Urged on by the Bolsheviks, the miners will not stop until they have brought this great country to its knees. I urge you to support the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Now I call upon Mr. Powlett-Jones to second Mr. McNaughton.
Do you know I'm a miner's son? I grew up in a Welsh mining community. I've seen it firsthand, the kind of deal those chaps get, and have been getting, ever since the English moved in and made a million out of their valleys. Most of them bring home 50 shillings a week for 5.5 days underground, where they might die at any moment. Because the absentee owners are too damned miserly to stump up for proper safety facilities. 50 shillings a week for a man with a wife and a family. It costs £4.10 a week to keep one of you fellows here for 8 months of the year. When I was a kid, younger than anyone here, I went off to school one morning. leaving behind a father and 2 brothers, working early shift, 4 a.m. to midday. When I got home that night, my father and brothers were dead. Their bodies were never recovered. There weren't enough pit props, see. The owners wouldn't pay for them. And Mr. Carter talks about the miners being greedy.
You got quite a kick out of that, didn't you?
Oh, I don't fool myself I got through to anyone. McNaughton and I lost.
Only by 4 votes. In this place, that's almost a victory. Can I give you a piece of advice?
Ah, let me guess. To work harder at cultivating the Englishman's stiff upper lip.
Quite the contrary. Blow your top more often. Give the Celt an airing. You'll feel better for it, and it won't do the rest of us any harm.
Evening, PJ.
Carter.
Aren't you going to congratulate the winning team?
That would be the gentlemanly thing to do, would it?
Fair vote, old chap. Democracy in action, and you lost.
Yes, we did.
Spoke to Alderman Blunt a few minutes ago. Oh, yes? He was most interested to hear all about it. Most interested. I'm not sure that the sixth form debate is a tradition I'd encourage, you know.
When you take over from Algy, you mean?
Well, I'll certainly be throwing my cap into the ring. I've made no secret of it. And if I am fortunate enough to be seriously considered as a candidate...
I think we can safely assume that any suitably qualified internal applicant will make it to the shortlist. It'll be insulting if they didn't. But you realise, I hope, that you won't be alone.
You're applying, Howarth. Well, splendid, splendid. Though I must say I'm surprised.
Good God, man, not me. But Powlett-Jones will be a very strong candidate.
Howarth?
You, PJ?
Yes, him. Now, why don't you run along, Carter, and make that telephone call?
Telephone call?
I'm sure Alderman Blunt will want to know.
Oh, really, Howarth?
Oh, that was completely irresponsible.
Yes, wasn't it? You can't back down nowadays.
I have no intention.
Yes, you did. Or would have, once you'd seen sense. Algy and I have been conspiring to twist your arm.
I'm not experienced enough.
You've at least as much chance as Carter, you know. And if he's...
Howarth, I'm not experienced enough.
You could take that line, I suppose. But if Carter is appointed, it means overnight modernisation. With the emphasis on science and technical education. Men like you and me replaced with non-entities. History and classics doesn't cut much ice with Carter and his breed.
But Bamfylde isn't that kind of school.
That depends on who leads it.
It could be modernised without making a bonfire of everything Algy's achieved.
Yes, but only by someone with imagination and drive. Someone like you.
All right, then, why not?
Oh, thank the Lord.
I'll do it. I'll apply.
Good man. It'll mean canvassing the governors, of course. I'd begin with Brigadier Cooper, if I were you. He's army, but he's sensible.
David! It's all right, Millie. I'll serve this customer. You came.
I said I would.
Are you in London for long?
Just overnight. Flying visit.
Business or pleasure?
I spent the day in the London Library, so now I'm giving myself over to pleasure. I want the largest chocolate eclair you have.
It's almost closing time. There's hardly anything left. We might run to a strawberry shortcake.
Well, I was under the impression this was a high-class establishment.
Nobody who's anyone eats cake at 5:15.
Well, then why don't I wait and take you for a drink?
Yes, all right. And in the meantime, you can have a pot of tea. It's our very own blend and ridiculously overpriced.
I shall savour every mouthful.
You're going to be headmaster? David, that's splendid.
Oh, hold your horses. They probably won't appoint me.
You'd be mad not to. I'm sure the boys are rooting for you. But is it likely? You're very young for the job.
Well, only a few years younger than Carter, though no doubt he's canvassing away as we speak.
Oh, they'll never give it to him. It'll be you or an outsider, I know it. Would you be terribly disappointed if it was an outsider?
I think I'd be relieved, providing he's the right chap and doesn't play hell with Algy's legacy. It's a very special kind of school, Julia. All the good qualities of the old-style public school, steadiness, continuity, a touch of genuine idealism. But it also has, how can I put it, a kind of post-war optimism and a broadening of outlook. I think of it as a kind of springboard for kids moving out into a world that's still licking its wounds.
Listen to me. You sound like I'm rehearsing for my interview.
You get my vote.
Oh, it's very sweet of you. It's all Algy's doing, of course. He's a bit of a genius, I think. And there's the moor, of course. So permanent. So English, if you like.
Is that a compliment? Coming from a Welshman?
Exmoor looks the same as it did when you were tribal mine were painting themselves blue. Outside there's the grab the cash, grab your girl world, and there sits Algy in the middle, like an adjudicator, making sure one doesn't swamp the other.
You really love Bamfylde, don't you?
Can I buy you dinner? We could go to one of those little places in Soho.
Not on your life. I've seen the inside of some of their kitchens and I prefer to poison myself. Come back to my flat and I'll cook us something.
Oh.
Or is that taking too much for granted?
And you know, I can't think of a better way of rounding off a very pleasant reunion.
Good. I found to my surprise that I'm a good manager. The owner gives me more or less a free hand. He's a sweetie. Hiram Ulysses Sprockman, would you believe? He's from New Jersey, but he's a terrific Anglophile. All set on becoming a New England squire when he's finished making money. You missed out this afternoon, not a celebrity in sight.
No, another time.
I hope so.
You know, this is the most enjoyable afternoon and evening I spent since
There hasn't been anyone since Beth.
No.
In all this time?
The truth is, I had very little experience of women before I married, and it wasn't entirely because of the war. After Beth died, the idea of a casual fling seemed, I don't know, too clinical, too clinical by far. There has to be something else. Friendship, at least. You?
I haven't been goody two-shoes. But nothing sparked. The few men I've met have wanted to use me in one way or another. And I soon realised that I'd be using them too. So I held off.
Juliet.
Yes, David?
I'd be a prize hypocrite if I said I didn't want to kiss you now.
I was rather hoping you would.
Here goes then.
You need a shave.
Yes, sorry,
Doesn't matter.
When did you shingle your hair? You had lovely hair. It was one of the first things I noticed about you.
You didn't notice me at all until you convinced yourself I was seducing one of your lambs.
That's what you think. Well?
It's the fashion. Up here, you have to stay in the fashion. It cost me a pang or two until I got used to it. I don't want you to get the wrong impression. I realise you don't need me in particular, but it seems to me you need affection even more than I do, and that's saying a hell of a lot. You're very welcome to stay the night if you'd like to. Or you can say thank you very much and walk out of here with no hard feelings.
I'd like to stay. I'd like that very much.
I'm glad.
I wasn't fishing for it, if you can believe that.
You never went fishing in your life. You wouldn't know how.
It's a problem in the junior dorm, sir. Bristow and Featherstone.
What sort of problem?
Bedwetting, sir. We'll have to do something before one of the others writes home on the subject.
Well, why on earth should they do that?
They're calling the space between their beds the hellish punk, sir.
Shouldn't have asked. Tell them to come and have a chat with me at break, will you?
Sir?
And let them know I'm taking the medical approach. I don't want either of them upset.
It's a frightful bore, isn't it, sir?
I wouldn't worry about it too much. It'll pass, these things do.
But it lets a fellow down.
Bristow, you're pretty good at gym, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
What about you, Featherstone? What are you good at?
Well, not exactly good, but I enjoy playing the piano.
Do you? Beethoven and all that?
Actually, I'm rather keen on jazz, sir.
Ah, I see. Well, we have a jazz band, you know that.
But that's serious. I couldn't play...
Ah, not yet. Not if you didn't want to, but it's something to aim for, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir.
I wonder, could I ask you chaps to do me the most enormous favour?
Favour, sir?
Come to tea on Sunday.
Rather.
Thank you for inviting us.
Now, technically it's not me inviting you, it's my daughter, Grace.
Yes, sir.
First term tea is an old custom at Havelocks, but this one is very special.
Why's that, sir?
Grace remembers her mother giving these teas, and although she's only 6, and you might find it all a bit solemn, I'd be very grateful if you'd play along.
How do you mean, sir? Help her pour out?
No, by George, quite the reverse. Let her do the pouring and all the passing around. That's her job as hostess. Just keep the conversation going and don't laugh, whatever you do. If she thinks any of you find it funny, she'll be very upset.
Oh, no, sir. Of course not, sir.
Do either of you know what happened to my wife?
I do, sir. There was a motor smash on Quarry Hill, and she was killed.
Yes, and Grace's sister. Grace was badly knocked about, but she pulled through.
Leave it to us, sir.
Oh, Lord. Was this a stupid idea?
She's a delightful child, and it'll be a huge success.
But she is a child.
And one that lives up to her name. Relax, Davy. Grace will be splendid.
Right. Here goes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Bristol. Featherstone. Go straight through, go straight through.
Yes, sir. Right, sir.
What about me? Should I go through?
No, not for a minute, Davy. Don't want us to think we're checking up on her.
No, you're right.
But I'm sure it would be in order to look through the crack in the door.
Good idea, thanks.
Well?
Nobody's broken anything yet. She's pouring the tea. Yes, that's fine. Now, steady, Grace. Oh, she's done it.
I think you could go in now, Davy.
Are you coming too?
Oh, no, this is little Grace's take. Let her have the limelight, eh?
All right, thanks, Algy.
So, like, was that the time? Mustache.
Now.
Dear Ma'am, I took Grace to London last weekend to see Peter Pan as a kind of reward for the tea party. We had a lovely time. We met a friend of mine, actually, someone who used to be a teacher here. They got on very well, but I knew they would. Julia Derbyshire is a very bright woman, very kind. Grace had taken to calling her Auntie Julia by the end of the weekend. I've heard from the governors at long last. I'm on the shortlist. So is Carter, no surprise there. And 4 outside men, all much older than me, and some of them already heads. I'll do my best and see what happens.
Powlett-Jones, Brigadier Cooper. Thank you for seeing me. Surprised at the venue, though, eh?
A little, yes.
Algy Harry's thinking post. Always loved this damn tree. Could only get him down from it if I promised to share the contents of my tuck box.
You and Mr. Heddes were at Bamfylde together.
Didn't he tell you? Thinks very highly of you, for all your politics.
I don't bring my politics into the classroom, sir.
Yeah, that's what he said. Look here, Powlett-Jones. I won't beat about the bush. Algy favours you, as I'm sure you know. Don't want some clever dick prancing about here with God knows how many damned silly modern theories.
There will need to be some modernisation, whoever is appointed. I couldn't promise not to make changes.
All I ask of the place is to turn out chaps who can speak up, play up, and look anyone straight in the eye. How many votes have you got on the board?
I don't know, sir.
Well, you better buck your ideas up. Carter has Blunt, and that means Wainwright and Dowling. At the moment, you only have me. And Algy, of course. But he can't vote on this. What's your opinion of Carter?
He's a clever man and a good teacher. But if he were appointed, I'd have to resign.
Hate him that much, eh?
I don't hate him. But I couldn't serve under him. We'd be after each other's scalps from the word go.
Fair enough. Plain speaking. I like that in a fellow. Leave the recce to me. I'll sniff around and dig out something before the next monthly meeting.
Thank you, sir.
One word of advice, mind. Stay out of politics.
I'll do my best, sir.
your feet up, Teeman.
Howarth! Letter for you. A special delivery, Alice.
Thanks. Feet, Teeman.
A special delivery, Howarth?
So you said.
Well, aren't you curious?
Not particularly.
No. Lord, is that the time?
What? Don't run!
Go away. David. I'm perfectly all right, David. Please go away. But does no one ever listen in this godforsaken place?
You weren't at dinner.
I wasn't hungry. Not now, David, please. I have a pile of marking.
That doesn't have to be done till Tuesday.
Will you kindly go away and mind your own business? I'm sorry.
Was it bad news? Your letter, Carter's been going on about it being special delivery.
I hope I'm not the subject of speculation in the staff room.
I shouldn't think so. What's up?
Oh. Do you remember once, a long time ago, I told you about a girl called Amy Crispin?
Oh, the girl that married a stockbroker?
That's right.
Was the letter from her?
It was from a solicitor. Amy died 6 months ago.
You didn't know?
Damn it, man, I didn't keep in touch with her. She had a son nearly as old as you.
I'm sorry.
It hit me like the very devil. Don't ask me why. I haven't set eyes on Amy Crispin since the spring of 1906. Do you want a gin?
All right.
Better make them large ones, if we're going to talk.
Is that what you want? To talk?
I don't know. There hasn't been a day I haven't thought of Amy, but talking about her. Well, you'd understand about that.
Yes. Were you engaged?
For over a year. Do you know what I was earning in 1903? £120 a year at Beckwith Grammar, and I was 24. Hardly enough to keep myself, let alone a wife and family. It was too late to change horses, and in any case, they didn't want to. If I have a vocation, it's teaching, like you.
I dare say she could have waited.
For how long? 5 years? 10? She wanted children. I've never held it against her that she went elsewhere for them. I'd always assumed she was happy. Here, read it for yourself.
She's left you £8,000. That's a small fortune, man.
Money never interested me. If it had, I wouldn't be here.
Properly invested, that would double any pension you could expect. You could retire easily.
And do what? No, I'll stick it out here, thank you. The money isn't what's hit me. It's the way she phrased the bequest. To Ian Howarth, whom I remember with the greatest affection. See, it's finding out this late in life that I could have married her if I'd had the nerve. I thought I was being sensible. Money can't wipe out 30 lost years. She'd been unhappy, I know it. Learn from this, David. Don't play the little gentleman like me. Get married again if you can.
All right.
Some men can live celibate, but not you. Not without corroding your personality.
Perhaps.
There's no perhaps about it. Marry again.
You can tell me to shut up or even punch me on the nose, but what have you done about women all these years? You're not a monk.
Did you ever drink in the Unicorn at Chalicum?
I have done.
The landlady there, Elsie, lots of fair hair.
Good God.
It's part of my money that set her up. She was the barmaid for 10 years beforehand.
You still call on her?
No. But I could do. She's a generous soul. She probably wouldn't charge me nowadays.
You're full of surprises.
Well, all of us are, aren't we? I notice you've been going to London pretty often lately. And don't try to fob me off by saying it's research for your book. Nobody does that much research.
All right, I won't.
Is it serious?
It's a fair question, Howarth. But for the life of me, I don't know how to answer it.
you asleep?
No. I'm listening to you thinking.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be. I'm sure they're very big thoughts.
They are, rather.
Are you going to tell me? You don't have to. Oh, I know that face. Very solemn. Out with it. Sorry, I sound like a dentist. Tell me, David.
Suppose I land the headship. Or don't and aim higher at some other school. Would you like to think about marrying me?
No.
Oh, look, I don't expect you to decide right away. You have a very pleasant life here, working for Sprockburn, but you've made all the difference in the world to me. And Grace adores you.
No, David. I'm very flattered, but it's out of the question. It wouldn't work,
Why
not for
not?
us. You're still in love with Beth, for one thing.
I'm not saying it'd be the same, but we get on, don't we? We'd have so much fun together. We could have children, if you like.
Listen. We do have fun, and we're very fond of one another. The bedside of things is wonderful, but that's not the kind of love that's essential to you. You know I'm right. And I couldn't come back to Bamfylde.
Oh, what, because of Keith Blades?
Of course not. Because it would drive me doolally, and I'd end up disgracing myself, or you.
I could leave Bamfylde. I'd get another school.
It would be the same. The job, the boys, they'd always come first with you, and that's the way it should be, my darling. You're a dedicated man. I'm not dedicated at all. We'd end up fighting like hell. You'd either come to hate me, or you'd give in and end up compromising with yourself. And I won't be responsible for that. Don't hate me.
Oh, I don't. Ah, well, there's one thing I hate a little. You're so much more clear-headed than I am.
I'm a woman.
This won't change the word.
Well,
Julia, no.
not because of what we've just said, David, but you've helped me make a decision. I shall go to America.
What? I won't pester you. There's no need to flee halfway around the world.
Flatter yourself. Brockman's been on at me for weeks to go. He wants to open a chain of old English tea shops in Connecticut and Maine, and I've been putting it off because... well, because of you. Now I think I'd better take him up on it.
When? How long for?
In about a month. For 5 or 6 weeks. By which time you'll be headmaster-elect of Bamfylde.
Carter will, and I'll be looking for another job.
If the worst comes to the worst, I'll let you wash up at the tea shop. Now come here and kiss me. You're relieved, aren't you? Really?
Yes. Yes, I am.
There. Now, I have half an hour before I need to get ready for work. How do you propose to fill that gap in my timetable, headmaster?
Well, the summons has come, ma'am. All the candidates are being interviewed on Tuesday in the library. My interview is at 2:30, just after Carter. The brig says I can count on 4 votes. That's the same as Carter now. We'll just have to see. Grace has knitted me a special pair of socks to wear for the occasion. Unfortunately, they're a very strange shape and a rather lurid shade of mauve, but I'll keep them in my pocket for luck. Keep everything crossed for me, ma'am.
I say, PJ, this waiting's a bit of an ordeal, eh?
I thought there'd be more than just you and me.
I saw the others this morning. Did you catch sight of any of them, perchance?
No, I've been keeping out of the way.
It's probably wise. I saw two. An enormous man with a stoop and a chap more our age. But from the way he scowled at the fountain, I reckon he thinks he's missed the boat.
Let's hope so, eh?
You don't have a mint or anything?
Sorry.
Terrible indigestion, damn it. Nervous stomach.
I don't know how many times I've been to the lavatory today.
Well.
Good luck, Carter.
You too, old man. Oh, God. You know, Carter? Yes. Right.
Don't let it rack, you know.
Right. Here we go, then. Well, Davy.
That's the most civil conversation Carter and I have had for months.
Good, good. I'd better go back in.
Algy. What are my chances? Really?
As good as the next man's. Depends on how you're doing there.
Now, you were awarded the MC in the war, Powlett-Jones. Care to tell us about it?
I'd prefer not, Brigadier Cooper. You were out there, and we both know how many chaps earned decorations and didn't get them.
You've been happy here, have you?
Damn fool question, Blunt. Given the man lost his wife on Quarry Hill.
I know what you meant, Alderman Blunt, and yes, I have been happy, thank you. That's mainly why I applied. I realise there are men on the staff senior to me, of course, but I made sure none of them wanted the post before I filed an application.
You took an external degree, didn't you? Wouldn't it have been better to take advantage of the shortened university course for ex-officers?
Possibly. It would have meant a 2-year break with Bamfylde, though. I was married then with 2 children on the way and would have had to take the chance of getting back here.
Still a red?
I've never been a communist, if that's what you mean.
Support the socialists, though, it's common knowledge.
Yes, I vote Labour.
I don't care for that.
If I'd been born and bred in a Welsh valley and seen my father and brothers sacrificed to industrial greed, dare say I'd have been a rebel too. And probably a good deal more radical than this chap. Mr. Powlett-Jones, what, in your opinion, is the most essential factor of a school like Bamfylde?
I thought you might ask me something like that.
I warn you, we've had some very good answers today.
Thank you, Blunt. I can answer it straight out. A happy atmosphere. If that's there, the boys can relax enough to find out about themselves, that everything else falls into place.
A happy atmosphere.
I could talk about latrine blocks and new laboratories and all the obvious things. But you asked me what I thought the essential factor is. And that's it.
Well?
Oh, have you got your flask?
Bad as that. Here.
Oh, I don't know. To hell with them all. Down the hatch.
Sir? Sir?
Do you want me, Stratton?
No, sir. Mr. Powlett-Jones, sir. There's a visitor for you.
A visitor? Now?
At the head's house, sir. With Mrs. Harris.
What on earth are you doing here?
I'm on my way to Liverpool. The ship leaves the day after tomorrow.
Oh, Bamfylde isn't on the way to Liverpool by any reasonable route.
I wanted to see this place again. And oddly enough, you. I've come to say goodbye.
Well, you'll be back in a few weeks.
No, Davy, I shan't.
Oh, Juliet.
I was going to write to you from New York, but I realised that would be the coward's way out. I married Hiram Sprockman yesterday. I'm not going to apologise. I might to a little man, but you're not a little man. Everything I said last time we... Well, all that holds true. I'll always remember your proposal as the greatest compliment anyone ever paid me.
I don't believe you love him.
Of course I don't. He knows that. I've told him often enough. He's proposed 3 or 4 times before. Hiram doesn't need the kind of wife that you need. His great love is making money. What he needs and what he's getting is a kind of mistress-cum-manageress.
Yeah, but you're worth more than that, Julia.
We'll never know, will we?
please give your husband my congratulations.
I would like us to stay friends.
Yes. Oh. Yes, I'd like that too.
Then, goodbye, Mr. Powlett-Jones.
Goodbye, Mrs. Sprockman. Good luck always.
For God's sake, David, kiss me.
Too late.
Davy? Oh, my lord. Oh, I do apologise. You didn't say we had visitors.
It's quite all right, Mr. Harris. I must be going.
Good lord, it's you. Have you come back to clear up the mystery of your rather abrupt disappearance some years ago?
I shall leave that to Davy. Goodbye, Mr. Harris. Goodbye, Davy.
Have I put my foot in something?
No. Am I the new headmaster?
It was a good result, but...
Not good enough.
Well, you and Carter broke exactly even. No one would budge an inch. In the end, Sir Rufus gave his casting vote for a chap named Alcock, with excellent qualifications. Just home from Rhodesia. He could have done a good deal better than Bamfylde if he'd come home 10 years earlier. Now, I know you're disappointed, Davy. But you know, perhaps your instinct was right. I'm not sure you were ready for it. You'd have been a gamble, and Bamfylde's not something I'd care to risk in a wager. Can you take that amount of plain speaking?
Oh, it's the day for it, Algy. It's the day for it.
In Part 3 of To Serve Them All My Days by RF Delderfield, dramatised for radio by Shaun McKenna, Davy was played by Oliver Milburn, Algy by John Wood, and Howarth by John Rowe. Anthony Calf was Carter, Juliet Aubrey, Julia, and Gerard McDermott, Brigadier Cooper. The boys were played by Harry Francis and Josh Freeborn. The director was Mark Beebe.
And with a new headmaster in charge, there are going to be some difficult times ahead for Davy and the staff at Bamfylde, as you can hear in Part 4 of To Serve Them All My Days at the same time tomorrow.
We're now on BBC Radio 4, our afternoon play, Part 4 of RF Delderfield's To Serve Them All My Days. It's 1927. Having failed to be appointed the new headmaster at Bamfylde, Davy is determined to give the new head, Alcock, his full support. But Alcock isn't about to make that an easy prospect.
Get the middle school in first, Islop, and then we'll have the third and lower fourth in the last minute.
Yes, sir.
They're supposed to know how to behave, but with all this emotion flying about, I don't think we'd better take any chances.
Right.
Off you go, then. Gird your loins.
Come on, you fellows. Monk, stop chattering. All set.
Ah, it's a sad day.
Algy will get the send-off he deserves. Don't worry.
Occasions like this are a gift to the professional windbag. I could keep you here till rising bell, spinning yarns of long ago when I came here as a scared little toad of 11. By Christopher, I was scared too. Tell that to your new boys, Mr. Alcock. Might cheer them up a bit. Well, there's one anecdote I should like to share with you before I pipe down. It was very trivial, I suppose. Petherick and Chuff Rogers were two boys who accompanied me to Barkham by train one Christmas when we were giving a charity performance of that year's opera. The train was very full, but we finally secured seats in a compartment with a young woman nursing a baby. Within moments of starting out, the baby was dramatically sick. Pettitt took refuge behind my copy of the Times. It was upside down, but that didn't seem to worry him. Pettitt was one of our skyrockets. Went on to collect the OBE. But Chuff Rogers... Chuff was always unlucky, and as he was sitting next to the mother, he was on the receiving end of the baby's gift. I didn't know quite what to do. But Chuff did. He whipped out the only clean handkerchief I ever saw him sport, leant across and wiped the baby's face and the mother's lap. It wasn't a dab, either. More a sort of general tidy-up all round. And he made soothing noises all the way to Barkham. Now, some of you might think that's a rather damp squib to end these proceedings after such very kind speeches and splendid farewell gifts. But it isn't, you know. It's very relevant to what I hope I've been up to on this moor for the past 23 years. Chuff Rogers, bless his thick skull, never won a race or a prize in his life. Neither did he find time to do the only thing he was really equipped for, to raise a family. He was killed at Vimy Ridge, but I still remember him rather better than I remember Pettitt. As a matter of fact, when I came across his name this morning, I thought of him as one of our outstanding successes. Thank you, boys. Thank you very much.
Before you disperse, I've had cause on other occasions to bring to your attention the disposal of litter in the latrine block. So far, this unfortunate and, may I say, unhygienic practice has continued unabated. I have today caused a notice to be posted. I expect it to be read, digested, and obeyed. Dismiss.
Well, Algy, didn't go too badly, eh? Now all that's left is to pick up the loot and skedaddle.
Bamfylde will never be the same.
One expects a degree of sentimental maundering on an occasion like this, but don't overdo it, man. I'm still in the land of the living.
What do you make of Alcock? You've had the handover period, but the rest of us have scarcely met him.
Well, it's hardly for me to say, is it, Davy? Though the foundations are already laid for the new bogs. Alcock squeezed the money out of the governors in a way I never managed. Made it a condition of his appointment, I gather. Good luck to him.
A school is more than new toilets, though.
Open mind, Davy, lad, open mind.
Yes, of course. I'll give him my support.
Do. Though I'm not sure he'll welcome it. He knows you and Carter wanted his job, Davy. I don't think he'll relish any interference.
Is that a warning?
The impartial observation of a disinterested bystander. I have to be disinterested now by Ellie's royal decree. But how it's to be done, well, I can't imagine.
I'm not saying anything.
Of course not,
Only
Carter.
that what worked perfectly well when Alcock was in Rhodesia might not work in rural Devon.
Do I detect a touch of the green-eyed monster?
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Barnaby. The man got the job fair and square.
Has anyone exchanged more than a word with him? Ah, PJ. Did the old man give any clues about the nature of the beast?
Hot on exam results. There was a wife once, I believe. I got the impression that... no, I shouldn't say.
Don't be pie, David.
All right. I get the feeling Mr. Alcock doesn't have much of a sense of humour.
No, you can see that in his face. He's been mooching around ever since he was appointed, hiding round corners, cropping up where least expected.
Carter.
And you never hear him arrive. I even looked to see if he was wearing crepe soles, but he's not that much of a bounder, thank God.
Carter.
But he's the spying type, one of nature's clerks. I'd bet 10 bob his filing system is a thing of beauty, and if he thinks... Ah. Good morning, Headmaster.
Good morning, gentlemen. It may be unorthodox for the headmaster to visit the staff room unannounced, but I make no apology. I wanted to catch you all at once.
What can we do for you, sir?
There has been a practice, I believe, of extra free periods and half holidays being granted for additional sports coaching.
Indeed there has. And I don't know if you know, Headmaster, but we came third in the Devon Schools Cricket League last year and put up a damn good show in the rugger.
Please don't use profanity in my presence, Mr. Carter.
Profanity? Yes, of course.
Henceforward, sport will be confined to the timetabled lessons only. No additional free periods under any circumstances unless approved in writing by me.
But...
yes, Mr. Carter.
Well, we'll never keep up our showing in the league, sir, if the boys can't practice.
Have any old Bamfyldians gone on to become professional sportsmen?
Well, no.
Then it couldn't possibly matter. One more thing. The Christmas play. For some years, I believe, the school has performed one of the Gilbert and Sullivan operettas. This year, I have chosen something with more educational value. An evening of scenes from Molière. In the French, of course. Good day, gentlemen.
Well, of all the wretched bloody man. Please don't use profanity in my presence, Mr. Carter.
No extra sport, eh? That raises him a notch in my estimation.
He's probably never played anything but croquet in his entire life.
And Molière. That'll go down like a lead balloon.
It appears, gentlemen, that we are living in interesting times. The lower sixth calls. I relish the prospect of Gage entertaining us all with his Lady Macbeth.
Oh, I think that role's already been taken, Howarth, by Charles Bloody Alcock.
Out, damned spotty.
PJ, could I have a word?
Oh, quickly, I got the tutors with the upper fourth.
I can't help thinking, now we're entering a new era, as it were.
Spit it out, man.
Well, can't we bury the hatchet? I know we've had our ups and downs, but if we're at loggerheads, it can only lead... What?
I absolutely agree. We should put our differences behind us.
Well, I didn't expect you to take it so well.
It's common sense.
I mean, for the sake of the school.
For the sake of peace and quiet. Let's shake hands on it, eh?
Well, I can't say I'm sorry you didn't get the job, but...
Let bygones be bygones.
Absolutely. Look, pop up to my rooms for a drink later on.
Oh, no, thanks, Carter. A working relationship, that's all I'm aiming for. We're never going to be great friends, are we?
Well, I suppose not. Fine by me.
I finished your manuscript last night.
Oh, God, is it rubbish?
It's not like any history book I've read before.
You hated it.
On the contrary. It's clear without being pedantic. And, I have to say, reads like a novel. A real page-turner. If I were a publisher, I'd bite your hand off. Have you sent it to anyone yet?
Not yet.
Then tarry no more, knight-at-arms. Don't waste time palely loitering. Excuse me, David. Hislop.
Sir?
How's your mother, Hislop?
Oh, that's very kind of you, sir. Bearing up, I think. Though...
Yes?
I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stay on. The old man didn't leave a lot, and the death duties have made a fair-sized hole in it.
Would it help if I wrote to her? You just battled your way through Lycidas, for heaven's sake. Can't waste all that effort.
Well, that was you, sir. I didn't have a clue about Milton until you showed me how he cribbed from Virgil.
That's my job. Your job is to get yourself to university. You're not to leave till you've sat your Cambridge entrance.
But that's 18 months away. I don't think we can afford it. I want to, of course I do, but...
The Lord works in mysterious ways, Hislop. Remember that.
Yes, sir. I'll try, sir.
All right. Off you go.
Thank you, sir.
You can't smoke that thing in here, Monk. You'll get caught.
I don't care. It's a meerschaum. I got it in Bristol in the holes. Look at the carving.
What's it supposed to be? A horse?
It's a stag, you ass. Look, antlers. Want a puff?
Take it up into the woods, you idiot, or I'll tell Noble what you're up to.
Tell what to whom, Nada?
You turd.
Quick, slip it in your pocket.
Tell what to whom?
Sir?
We were just jawing, sir.
Pockets, Monk.
But...
There's a distinct aroma of smouldering worsted. Empty your pockets. Oh, Stoker, hand it over.
Sir?
You know smoking is against school rules, Monk.
Yes, sir.
Smoking something as hideous as this pipe is even against the rules of good taste. Is that supposed to be a horse?
It's a stag, sir. See? The antlers.
It's confiscated. And Lowther?
Sir?
Whom were you threatening to tell?
The head, sir. Mr. Alcott.
No, you called him something else.
Yes, sir.
Well?
Noble, sir.
Noble? Why Noble?
I don't know, sir. It's his nickname, sir.
All right. See me after prep, Monk.
Sir.
Noble. Hardly seems appropriate.
Noble? Yes, I can see it. The noble stoic. Cool, distant, humorless.
At least the food has improved.
You like a smoke, Howarth? This pipe of Monk's any good to you?
Oh, dear God. Where does he get them?
Young Stoker's going to have quite a collection when he leaves. I've already got 3 more in equally appalling taste, as well as 2 catapults and an air pistol from his pre-smoking days.
I suppose we should rejoice the Stoker has taken up the weed.
Morning.
Oh, David, you look grim.
I just found this. It's the notice Alcott posted on the latrines. I thought I'd better take it down before he sees it.
Why?
Oh, a small, unauthorised edition.
Well, let me see.
Oh, it's not that funny.
Oh, come on, it's rather good.
Well, spill the beans, Carter.
It explains everything. They've excelled themselves this time. The signature, see? Alcock and no...
Thank you, Carter.
You have to admit it shows a certain dignity. It makes its point whilst masking its basic vulgarity. Logical, too.
Logical?
Yes, I suppose they think of him as a eunuch.
Oh, you're not suggesting he is.
Of course not. But you might look for that terrible separateness in someone who's been castrated. Wouldn't you say?
It's really not a subject I'd wish to dwell on. The assembly day. Another day in paradise awaits. Et in Arcadia ego.
Disappointed. The notice I caused to be posted has been removed by some unauthorized person. I require whoever removed it to return it to me personally. If he has insufficient moral courage, he may return it anonymously. Unless that notice reaches me by the end of school today, the half-term holiday will be cancelled. That is all.
Well, David, do you keep mum and inflict injustice on the innocent?
Algy would have made a joke of it, posted another notice and threatened to hide the next boy who touched it.
There's nothing you can do without sacrificing your dignity.
Let me worry about my dignity.
Come. Might I have a word, Headmaster?
Is it urgent, Powlett-Jones?
Oh, it's about that notice, Headmaster. There's no need to cancel the holiday.
Ah, you've identified the culprit.
In a sense. It was me.
You removed that notice?
Oh, I had a good reason.
I would imagine so.
Can we leave it there?
I hardly think so. What was your good reason?
The notice was defaced.
You caught someone defacing it?
No, it was defaced when I found it. If I may make a suggestion, Headmaster.
Very well.
Replace the notice and leave the matter there. It won't be interfered with again. They've had their warning.
That's for me to decide, I think.
Just a suggestion.
I made my first appeal some hours ago. You seem to have been reluctant to come forward. Do you suspect a boy from your house?
I suspect nobody. I simply removed a defaced notice.
Defaced in what manner?
Nothing particularly obscene, just schoolboy mischief.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. Are you refusing to tell me the nature of the defacement?
The main thing, surely, is that you know a boy didn't remove it.
The main thing, surely, is that one of my staff, one of my housemasters, no less, refuses to cooperate with me in the maintenance of discipline.
Allow me to put my cards on the table, Powlett-Jones. I'm a new broom at Bamfylde. I intend to sweep clean. I hope I may count on your cooperation.
I understand, of course, that your style is very different from Mr. Harry's, isn't it?
Oh, very different. And it's my duty to make that felt from the start, don't you agree? There may be some chafing at first, I expect that, but you'll find the boot will fit comfortably before too long.
Bamfylde has always been a school.
I'm not interested in what Bamfylde has been, Powlett-Jones, only in what it will become.
I see.
I know that Mr. Harris gave you certain privileges. I will respect those privileges as long as you support me.
Support you, Headmaster?
A school is like a regiment, Powlett-Jones. It runs best on wholesome food, tight discipline, and decisive leadership. And a regiment can only have one commanding officer. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir. And, in my experience, the best officers are those who can command not just the loyalty, but the affection of the men.
You were, of course, merely a second lieutenant.
Headmaster, with all due respect...
How was the notice defaced?
For 2 pins. I'm sorry, Mr. Alcock, but I think it's best forgotten.
Well, then, we shall have to leave it there, shan't we? With some reluctance on my part, I might add. You may go.
Well,
the man is...
Let's get well away before you blow your top. The better part of valour, Davy.
That man is going to tear this place apart.
No, he won't. Not if you keep that damn Welsh pride of yours in check.
What's going to happen to this place, huh? To the boys? The whole tone of the school
A tone can be adjusted. Those new latrines will last a generation.
It's his attitude. It rubs off.
He won't be here forever.
Algy was here for 23 years.
Alcock won't be.
How can you possibly know that?
Because I've been teaching for a very long time. Better?
Yeah, I suppose so.
What are you doing over half-term? London?
No, that's all over.
Ah. Then go home to the valleys. You need to get away, David. You need space to breathe. Go and visit your mother.
There isn't time.
5 days? Just the travelling will do you good.
You still here, Davy?
I'm not going back till tomorrow, Youings. You know that.
I bet you can't wait.
No, I'll be sorry to go.
I'm sure you will.
How does Ma'am seem to you?
Same as usual.
She seems... I don't know.
She's getting old, Davy.
Yeah.
Gwyneth and I do our best for her.
Oh, I'm not saying it.
Look, I know you're the apple of her eye. But we're the ones here day to day. We're not neglecting her.
Oh, of course not. You're the best son-in-law a woman could have, man.
Oh, that's very smooth, Davy. Very diplomatic. I expect you picked it up from all your true blue English friends.
Oh, you...
Mum misses you. Sending money every month isn't the same as being here.
I right. I've been on at her to put in a telephone. I said I'd pay for it.
She doesn't need a phone. Who would she call but you? And you're too busy educating all those Tories.
Oh, for God's sake, Youings, what's wrong, eh? You've been as prickly as hell ever since I came home.
Yeah, a lot longer than that. You just never noticed.
Well, spit it out, man.
You're a traitor to your class, Davy.
Oh, for God's sake.
You're nothing but a poodle to the English aristocracy. Over there in that swanky school, you should be ashamed.
Well, don't the upper classes need educating, Youings? Who'll tell them what life's really about if they don't see people like me, eh? And I can make a difference.
You could make a difference to miners' sons, too. And daughters. Oh, but I don't suppose it pays enough.
That's uncalled for.
Go back to England, boy. You're not wanted here.
Look, Youings. I don't know when you started to resent me, but it isn't what I want. Let's talk it out, eh? Let's go down the arms.
Can't. I'm out tonight. By-election rally.
Well, then I'll come too.
It's Labour.
I voted Labour all my life, man.
Yes. I expect your vote really counts in Devon.
I don't just speak for myself. I
Don't let him speak for us.
I speak for the party, for Ramsay MacDonald. And what we
hear from him.
You need Ramsay MacDonald. He has promised. He has sworn that if Labour win the next general election, the coal industry will be nationalised.
We've heard promises before, girl.
No, you're worried about your jobs, and we do understand that.
You're only worried about getting your skirt dirty.
No, comrades.
Don't worry, we'll have you take it off.
Comrades, please. Comrades!
Excuse me, is this seat taken?
No.
Oh, sorry about this. I always aim to travel light, but I never quite manage it.
Don't worry.
You're Christine Forster, aren't you?
How on earth would you know that?
I was at the rally last night.
Ah. You weren't a heckler, were you?
No.
Good. It wasn't the easiest speech I've ever made.
They gave you a hard ride. I thought you handled it very well.
Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some papers. Oh. Damn!
Yeah.
Oh, I've never been able to work on trains.
Know me.
Do you live round here?
The Valleys? No, not for years. I teach in a school in Devon.
Oh, where?
Oh, you wouldn't have heard of it. Small place called Bamfylde.
Bamfylde? I've been there.
No.
One sports day years ago, one of my cousins was a pupil there at Ridgeway.
Ah, a tall boy, a first-class miler.
He did win the mile that year, yes.
He was in my house. How extraordinary.
He's planting rubber in Malaya now, I believe. I can't be sure. I've been rather cut off from family gossip since I joined the Labour Party. A case of turn Christine's face to the wall. Now I'm intrigued. How does a master from true blue Bamfylde in South Devon come to be at a Labour Party rally in South Wales?
Flying visit to my family. Though I've spent more time on trains than I did with Mam. My brother-in-law's on the local Labour committee. You were Rees.
Ah, yes. I don't think Mr. Rees thinks Ormond has a dog's chance of getting into Parliament.
No, I don't suppose he does. You find reactionaries of one sort or another anywhere, even in the Labour Party. His heart's in the right place. So, how did you come to...
How did a snooty little bitch from a nouveau riche family come to be speaking in support of a Welsh parliamentary seat?
Your words, not mine.
I'm sorry. I can imagine how it looks to you.
You're very hard on yourself.
Bitter experience. Expect the worst, and you're rarely disappointed.
I think you underestimate your talents. You put together a damn good speech and delivered it with passion.
Thanks.
Ramsay Mac needs people like you, no?
No, I know you're a schoolmaster. You've just taught me a lesson.
A pleasant one, I hope.
It's always pleasant to be told you're not wasting your time. I'll remember that in Newport. I'm addressing a rally there a week next Saturday.
Ah, perhaps I could come and support you.
Would you? Really? I should like one sympathetic face in a sea of blanks.
Then I shall, if I can persuade Carter to stand in for me at the house match.
Well, if it's tricky, please don't.
Oh, go on. He owes me a favour. I'll be there.
You've put heart into me, Mr... I'm sorry, I don't even know your name.
Powlett-Jones. Davy Powlett-Jones.
And I'm... Well, of course, you know that. Why are you smiling?
I wasn't sure that coming home for half-term would be worth the effort. I can see I was wrong.
Be careful, Mr. Powlett-Jones.
Why?
You know the Labour Party. Come to one meeting and we'll have you distributing leaflets and banging on doors every spare moment you've got.
I think that might have its compensation.
You've got to be joking. I am not. It's true.
Pockets, Monk.
Sir?
Hand it over. Oh, another monstrosity.
It's supposed to be a Knight Templar, sir.
Looks more like a Cochrane girl. Time you stopped being a joker as well as a smoker, Stoker. Cut along.
Yes, sir.
Small loot. If the noble stoic becomes too much, you could always set up a small shop.
Does this look like a Knight Templar to you?
I've never met one. I wouldn't know.
Sir?
Excuse me, sir. I'll leave you to it. Walk, don't run, lover.
Well, Hislop?
I've just had a letter from my mother.
Good news, I trust?
I don't know what to say.
Then don't say anything.
It's absurdly generous of you, sir.
I don't think we should discuss this, Hislop. It is a matter between your mother and myself.
But half my fees, sir. It's hundreds of pounds.
A little while ago, I received what you, in your idiosyncratic and sadly ungrammatical way, would probably call a windfall, Hislop. I was planning to invest it. I happen to think your future is a better investment than most.
I will pay it back, sir.
You certainly will. That essay on Tennyson was a disgrace. I shall expect you to do rather better with your analysis of Coleridge. Concentrate on Christabel. Christabel's the key to Coleridge.
Yes, sir.
Point taken?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, I shall not keep you long. It is, as you know, my normal practice to read a random sample of the boy's letters to and from home.
I thought that was up to us, Mr. Alcock, as housemasters.
Checks and balances, Mr. Powlett-Jones. Checks and balances.
Why don't you trust us to do it properly, Dave?
It's a routine administrative matter. I cannot imagine why you should take this tone.
I meant no disrespect.
Good. I want to read you a passage concerning, incidentally, a boy in your house, Powlett-Jones. It's from Major Vesey in Singapore. It reads, "You're bound to feel a bit low, Archie, but Captain Gage mentioned that his younger boy is in the upper fifth, and he'll be writing to him to ask him to look out for you."
I'm not quite with you, Headmaster. What's your drift?
I think it's quite clear, don't you? It has come to my notice that a number of, shall we say, sentimental friendships appear to exist between senior and junior boys. I'm sure I don't need to be more explicit as to what this presages. I have therefore decided that steps must be taken to suppress such friendships as, at best, undignified and, at worst, extremely unhealthy.
I don't think you need worry about Gage on our score, sir.
Nevertheless, in future, I want the latrine block monitored at all times by prefects. Housemasters will be required to report any inter-year associations between boys.
That's taking a hammer to crack a nut, isn't it?
I disagree.
Look here. We all know in any school there's a certain amount of ninjing.
Ninjing, Barnaby? I'm not familiar with the term.
It's Bamfylde slang, Headmaster.
Ninjing. In its quaintness, it sounds almost affectionate.
Hardly that.
Mr. Herries always...
Mr. Herries is no longer headmaster here.
We're all aware of that, Mr. Alcock, but I happen to agree with him. We're mostly talking about hero worship on the part of the younger boy and a kind of beefy patronage from the elder. It gives him a bit of status, and all that happens to the younger boy is a few minor privileges and tea time extras.
Tea time extras? I wonder what you might mean by that.
Oh, drive this sentimentality underground, and every now and then you'll encourage it to develop into something dangerous. But in 99 cases out of 100, it's all perfectly innocent.
It's the 100th case I'm concerned with.
There's nothing of that kind in my house, believe me.
I should like to, Powlett-Jones. But none of us can be sure, can we? Even you, I fear, are not infallible.
Supposing we spot an unhealthy attachment, Headmaster, what do we do then?
Sever it on the spot and report it to me. A note will be made in my files.
Headmaster, Skelton in my house has taken young Grattan under his wing. At my suggestion, in fact. They're often out on the field, deep in conversation, just the two of them. Does that make me a pimp?
Carter, please. That's quite inappropriate.
But you'd frown on the association.
If it appeared an exclusive relationship, yes.
Skelton regards Grattan as the likeliest kid among the juniors to lead the new Colts team. Grattan's going to make a first-class bowler, and where else would he look but Skelton, the captain of the first 11, for extra coaching? Especially now you've stopped non-timetabled sport. Sir?
I appear to have stirred up quite a little hornet's nest. I must say, I'm surprised that my perfectly sensible instruction has touched quite so many raw nerves. Perhaps the problem is more serious than I feared, and not just among the boys. A notice will be posted. That is all.
Did he mean?
He certainly did.
Bloody man. I say, you don't think he's so hot on this because he's a bit, well, you know.
Don't be an oaf. That would require an emotion. If he had one, he'd never know it, let alone act on it.
Well, gives us something to look forward to. Noble's non-ninjing notice.
I'm surprised you came, but I'm very glad.
I said I would.
Well, you jam on what promised to be a very stodgy helping of rice pudding.
Oh, you're a very good speaker, Christine.
I shall take that as a compliment coming from someone who talks for a living. Well, it's what schoolmasters do, isn't it?
I suppose so. And you'll have a seat of your own to speak for soon enough.
Oh, I doubt it. It's unpopular enough fighting for the cause without being a woman.
Really matters to you, doesn't it?
Of course.
Your family don't support you, no?
I'm from Sheffield. Father cleaned up during the war. He built a factory making shell casings. He made £100 a shift profit out of all those dead young men.
We were grateful we had bullets.
You were there?
Yes, but we've only got an hour before my train goes, so I won't start in on the war stories now.
If the cards had fallen differently, I wouldn't have had the nice house and new clothes and good education. I'd have been one of those kids whose fathers were killed out there. When I left university, I thought I should do something to pay back, I suppose. That sounds smug, but I don't know how else to put it.
It sounds all right. You've made sacrifices.
Not big ones, but I'm dedicated now, for better or worse. If I'm honest, there's not much else in my life.
Wasn't praying.
I know. If you had been, I'd have clammed up. I want to be an MP, Davy. I want to make a difference. It's more important than anything to me than money or love or, well, anything.
Yes.
But it's unlikely I'll get very far. The odds are rather against a separated woman of 26.
Separated?
Long story. Very dull. Well, he's in Canada.
You didn't want to go?
Not with him. Look, you need to get off. Thanks again for coming, Davy.
You'll get a seat. I don't get the feeling you're the sort of person who gives up.
And there I was, hoping to be sphinx-like and mysterious. Is it a schoolmaster trick? I've talked endlessly about myself, and I don't know a thing about you except that you taught a cousin of mine who took off for Malaya.
Nothing much to tell, I'm afraid. Goodbye, then, Christine. I hope we meet again.
Me too. But I'm not likely to be in Devon, except on a Charabanc trip, taking in Clovelly and the Doon Valley.
You never know. And it's a fallacy that schoolmasters are professional talkers. If they're interested in the job, they have to learn how to listen. I must be progressing.
PJ, thank God you're back.
Why? What's up?
Damn it all. Why didn't he stick to the tree stump? Alcock caught Stoker Monk smoking one of those damn pipes in the coke hole after prep. I wouldn't even have known about it if the boy hadn't come to me in tears.
Well, no great harm done, surely.
No harm? He sacked him.
Sacked him? For smoking?
Yes.
But if every boy caught smoking had been expelled, we'd be reduced to a dozen first formers by now. Well, have you tried to talk him out of it?
I practically grovelled. The bloody man's an iceberg. He said it wasn't his first offence. How would he know that?
Oh, he's got a file, of course. He's got a dossier on all of us, I expect. But Monk's in your house, Carter. I don't see what I can do.
You're very popular here, PJ.
Not with the noble stoic. My speaking up for the boy isn't going to help. Why not try Howarth?
I mean to. Through you.
I'm not with you.
I've written a letter. If we all signed it, he'd have to take some notice. It's no good me asking. I thought perhaps if you could approach the others.
Oh, it's a bit of a belly crawl, isn't it?
Look, PJ, no warning was given, not of sacking. I think the lad deserves another chance.
So do I.
Then talk to the others?
I don't like it, David. But as it's you who's asking...
I'll sign. Oh, thanks, Barnaby. That makes half a dozen of us, enemy.
Locking horns with the wretched man won't work. I prefer the backstairs approach.
That's what Irving said. And the others are too frightened of losing their jobs, I think.
Perhaps they agree with the noble stoic. He's trying to keep discipline in his own way.
Well, that's not the way I do it.
That doesn't necessarily make it wrong, David.
Look, if you don't want to sign...
I've said I would. Hand it over. There.
Thanks. I'll take it over to Carter. He's jumping about like a cat on hot bricks.
Sit. Monk, step forward.
Sir?
I think I may safely assume that everybody knows why we are assembled. It is to draw attention to a disgusting habit practiced by the wretched boy you see beside me. Every school, as I'm sure you are aware, has strict rules about smoking, yet Monk has seen fit to set the rule at defiance. It was my intention to expel him. But because of an urgent intercession on the part of his housemaster and certain of his colleagues, pointing out that I had issued no specific penalty for smoking, I have relented. No extenuating circumstances will influence me in future. Hislop, bring me Monk's pipe.
What the devil?
Thank you, Hislop. Gentlemen, this is a hammer from the school workshop. As I use it on this disgusting smoking implement, I would like you to reflect on its symbolism. It is how I intend to deal with any future breach of discipline.
Good God.
Hislop.
Sir?
You find this amusing?
No, sir.
Then share with us, pray, what prompted you to laugh.
I couldn't help it, sir.
You could not help it?
No, sir.
You are expecting to become head boy next term, I believe?
Well, yes, sir.
You are at present a prefect, are you not?
Yes, sir.
A prefect's function is to cooperate with the headmaster in the maintenance of discipline. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir.
Give me your tie, Hislop.
Sir?
Your tie. You are no longer a prefect, Hislop. That is all. Dismiss.
Damn him, that was like a medieval book burning.
Good lad, flavour to every pipe I smoke from now on.
You have to concede the man a certain appalling style.
Silliest piece of cheap melodrama I've ever seen. Time we all started looking for new jobs.
Not me.
You can't say you approve.
Of course I don't approve. Hislop is one of my star pupils, but he'll get over this. Let's keep things in proportion.
But Howarth...
Oh, look at us. Standing around grousing in small groups. It looks... Damn it, it is conspiratorial. Play Brutus if you must, David, but don't cast me as Cassius.
Oh, come on.
He's establishing his power, nothing more. And he has the power. There's nothing we can do but grin and bear it.
Tempus est discedere.
What?
Time to move on.
I'm sorry to hear you're under the weather. I hope this finds you better, ma'am. Not that I got much to report, or nothing I want to write home about, anyhow. I've been thinking, for the first time ever, really, that I should move on. Perhaps Youings is right. Perhaps I'd be better in a Welsh school. But this place is going wrong, ma'am, and someone has to fight for it. You know me, I'm like a dog with a stick when someone gets my back up. I just won't let go. Is that a strength or a weakness? I know what Beth would say. Take a long walk and calm down. Trouble is, it's raining cats and dogs here.
You wanted to see me?
Sit down, Powlett-Jones.
If you like.
The letter about that foolish boy Monk, or should I say, petition. Ostensibly it comes from Carter, doesn't it?
It was Carter's idea, yes.
The remainder of the signatories followed his lead.
I suppose so.
And you were one of those signatories?
Yes, you know that.
Merely a signatory.
What are you suggesting, Mr. Alcock?
You do not seem to me to possess the personality of a follower, Powlett-Jones. You strike me more as one of nature's leaders.
You think the petition was my idea?
I think that you and I need to find a way to work together. For the good of Bamfylde. It would be advantageous for all of us, for the school, if any future dissent among the staff could be, shall I say, neutralised before it undermines discipline.
I'm happy to do anything for the good of the school.
Good, good. Then you appreciate that advanced knowledge of such dissent would greatly assist my administration.
Are you asking me to spy for you, Headmaster?
That's a somewhat sinister term, don't you think?
It's a somewhat sinister request. Find someone else to do your dirty work, Headmaster. You backed the wrong horse, yeah.
I confess that I fail to understand you, Powlett-Jones. I hear a great deal about your devotion to Bamfylde, and yet you oppose me at every turn.
I think we should draw this meeting to a close, don't you? If you'll excuse me.
I have not dismissed you. If you leave now, Powlett-Jones, before we reach an accommodation with one another, well, some men might regard that as an open declaration of hostilities.
Good evening, Mr. Alcock.
Your decision, of course.
In Part 4 of To Serve Them All My Days by RF Delderfield, dramatised for radio by Shaun McKenna, Davy was played by Oliver Milburn, Algy by John Wood, and Howarth by John Rowe. Anthony Carth was Carter, Clive Merrison, Alcock, and Kate Buffery, Christine. Gerard McDermott was Barnaby, Anthony Glennon, Hislop, and Nick Sace, Ewart. The boys were played by Stephen Williams and Stephen Roberts. The director was Cherry Cookson.
And you can hear how Davy's battle with Alcock is resolved tomorrow afternoon in the final part of To Serve Them All My Days at 2:15.
Well, now to this afternoon's play, the final part of our dramatisation of RF Delderfield's To Serve Them All My Days. It's 1929, and Davy Powlett-Jones is about to face his greatest challenge yet at Bamfylde School. Daggers drawn with the new headmaster, Alcock, it is clear the two men cannot work together. One of them will have to go.
Sir?
What is it, Gage?
It's my pen, sir. My Parker. The one my brother gave me when he went to South Africa.
Well?
It's not in my locker, sir.
You probably left it in your desk.
No, sir. I know it was in my locker. I'd lent it to Crawford to do his stamp album. It's got an italic nib, you see, sir.
And it's gone?
Yes, sir.
All right. See the house servant and fill in a chit. I'll do my best.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, not again.
There, you brutes. That'll do for you.
Hello! Algy!
Davy, how splendid to see you.
I have some news. I wanted you to... Oh.
Come in and get your breath back, man. I was just putting down beer for the slugs. Positive plague of them this year.
I wanted you to be the first to hear.
Oh, this all sounds most exciting. Can't you wait for Ellie to get back? She's at the WI meeting. No, obviously not. Spit it out, man.
The Royal Tigress, my book.
You found a publisher?
I have, yes.
Magnificent, magnificent.
And if it hadn't been for your encouragement,
Nonsense, man. It's all your own doing. Blow your trumpet till the hills resound. My word, a published author on the staff of Bamfylde. The governors will be impressed.
Good. I need all the support I can get.
Well, things no better up there.
Oh, rather worse, I'm afraid. The last 12 months have been... Well, Howarth described it last week as a genteel war of attrition. Oh, I wish to God they never appointed Alcock. Even Carter would have been preferable.
You realise the governors have no idea how discontented the staff are.
Well, shouldn't you tell them?
No, I'm afraid it would look like sour grapes, Davy. There's nothing more undignified than trying to cramp your successor's style.
Quite a style. And it rubs off on the boys, that's the trouble. We've had a spate of petty thefts at Havelocks, and for the life of me, I can't find the culprit.
Well, enough of that for now. We have a book to celebrate. Yeah. Come into the house, we'll toast it in Earl Grey. Would you prefer some of the Slug's beer?
Visitor for you, PJ.
Oh, I'm not expecting anyone.
She said she was just passing.
Nobody just passes Bamfylde. Hang on, did you say she?
Oh, most definitely a she. You're a dark horse, PJ.
I can't imagine who it is. And whatever end of the stick you've got hold of, it's the wrong one.
Her name's Forster.
Christine. Good God.
And if I've got hold of the wrong end of the stick, perhaps you'd let me offer her tea.
Not a chance now. Where is she?
A nod's as good as a wink, PJ. She's in the secretary's office. She said she'd like a look round.
Well, thank you for the tour. Do I tip the guide?
If you like.
Well, here's a tip. Tell that chap I first spoke to.
Barnaby?
Is that his name? Well, mention that he might be a bit old to lollop around like a lovesick Labrador the moment a half-presentable female turns up. I swear, his tongue was hanging out.
Oh, dear. He's 45 going on 18, I'm afraid. Unlucky and love he is.
Well, women can sense desperation at 30 feet.
I'll tell him. Gently. So is Bamfylde as you remember it?
Does it have to be so Spartan? I really can't believe that a few carpets and cushions would corrupt the boys irretrievably. It's like a prison.
Christine, it's lovely to see you, but...
But you haven't heard from me in over a year, I know. I don't suppose you'll believe I finally decided to take that charabanc trip to the Doon Valley?
No, I don't suppose I would. What have you been up to? I've been checking the papers for reports of a glamorous Sheffield firebrand kicking up a storm on the hustings, but to no avail.
Did you? Really?
I follow your career with great interest, you know.
Well, there hasn't been much career lately. I went to Canada for 9 months, a study grant from the party. You remember my husband is in Canada?
Yes, I do.
He isn't my husband anymore.
Oh.
I wrote a report after my travels, and it seems it went down well with 1 or 2 people. I've been offered a prospective parliamentary seat.
Oh, that's marvellous, Christine. Why didn't you say congratulations?
Well, it's a fairly safe Tory seat, unfortunately.
No negativity. You'll sweep all before you.
You are good for me.
I hope so. Where is it?
South Mendip, where Somerset, Wiltshire and Gloucestershire meet.
Oh, but that's no more than an hour and a half in the car now.
Which is why I'm here. I have a proposition.
It's a long time since I've been propositioned.
I find that surprising. Are you free for supper? I'm staying at the Unicorn. I'm told they do a decent evening meal.
Oh, solid rather than decent, but it's all local produce and excellent steam puddings they are.
Oh, nobody but a schoolmaster could describe a roly-poly with such relish. Are you free? About 8?
You're being very tantalising, Christine.
Yes, and it's quite deliberate.
Oh, dear God. Oh, bloody Nora.
Problem?
I've been robbed. Oh, hell's teeth. Damn!
What's gone now?
I had £15. It's all gone.
15 quid? I say, Hislop.
I kept it in my slipper, under the bed.
Damn fool place to keep it.
I had my reasons. It was there before prayers. I checked.
Well, but who could have taken
I think it's Cricklade.
No. It has to be one of us. I mean, it stands to reason.
Well, think about it. None of us are allowed up here during the day. Cricklade has free access.
He's the house servant. He wouldn't. He'd lose his job.
Only if he was caught.
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Something. I earned that money.
Well, you'd better be damn discreet. Don't want Powwow finding out.
Let me get you another pint.
No, you've prevaricated long enough. What's your proposition?
I want you to speak for me at my adoption meeting, if it's not asking too much.
I've never made a political speech in my life.
What about that school debate on the general strike? You trounced Carter, you
That
told
was
me.
years ago. It was only a school
And
thing.
this is only a modest affair in the Church Institute in Bilhampton. Please, sir, you will. I need a historian's perspective. It's Monmouth country. 9 weavers were hung in the marketplace for taking part in that rebellion.
Ah, but Monmouth's wasn't a popular rising, was it? He was a royal bastard and a feeble one of that.
But it's still a case of the people versus the others. Please, Davy. I know you'll strike a chord. You speaking for me, a master at a public school and soon to be a published author, it would be a feather in my cap. I know that sounds pretty selfish and calculated.
Ah, but realistic. And I like that.
I hope you're not disappointed.
Why would I be?
You might have been expecting quite another sort of proposition.
I wasn't expecting anything.
I don't want there to be any misunderstanding.
You don't have to explain anything.
After everything went wrong with my ex-husband, I made a choice. There's no room in my life for that sort of thing. You have to be pretty bloody minded to make a mark in politics. I can't afford any distractions.
Am I a distraction?
I think you could be.
I understand. I won't get in your way. I'll give you all the support I can as a friend.
A good friend, I hope.
I hope so too.
See? I'm a hard-faced socialist harridan, the sort they write about in the Daily Mail.
And I'm a stuffy schoolmaster rapidly approaching middle age.
That's a perfect basis for a friendship. Will you speak for me?
Yes. Yes, I will. When is it?
Middle of next month. Are you sure it won't give the governors apoplexy?
Ah, do them good. Anyway, the old head, Algy Herries, spoke more than once for the Liberal candidate in Exeter, and Carter has acted as agent for the local Tory. Plenty of precedents. I'd be honoured.
Well? I found it.
All of it?
Your pen, Harper's postal order, and 30 bob of my lucre. I mean, kid stealing is one thing, but when the bloody house servant starts breaking into lockers...
Don't tell Powwow. He'll say it's the redistribution of wealth.
I've got to tell him.
Well, how are you going to explain about your money?
I'll say my mother gave it to me.
£15?
All right, a legacy or something.
He'll tell the head.
No, he won't. It's Havelock's business.
But you broke into a servant's room. You went through his things. You'll catch it hot.
Well, if I hadn't, the tow rag would still be stealing, wouldn't he?
Look, why don't we just give him a good going over? You and me, eh? He's only a little squirt. Don't get Powwow involved.
Oh, Powwow's all right. He's on our side.
He's a teacher. Watch out.
Gage, why aren't you in class?
Excuse me, sir.
Don't do it.
Yes, as well.
I want to report a theft, sir.
Oh, you twat.
Is that everything, Powlett-Jones?
Everything I learned from Islop, and I've no reason to suppose he was holding anything back.
I'm afraid we differ there.
I don't follow it, Master.
Wouldn't you say it was extremely unusual for a boy to possess that much money, even a senior boy?
Some parents are generous with pocket money.
But Howarth is paying half the boy's fees because the mother can't afford to.
Hislop said the £15 was a legacy from an aunt.
And you believed him?
Well, it's probably a half-truth. I know he's saving for a motorbike. Surely the important thing is that Cricklade is seen and questioned.
That will occur.
You intend reporting the matter to the police?
That, I'm afraid, is a decision you must leave to me.
Well, of course, but it happened in my house, and naturally I'm very concerned.
I should be surprised if you were not. Kindly ask Hislop to report to me after lunch.
Headmaster.
That is all.
Stick your bloody school! I don't care!
Hislop!
Shut up! You can't give me orders anymore.
Hislop, what on earth is wrong?
Leave me alone!
Hislop!
You wasted your money on me.
Easy, boy.
He sacked me! Bloody Alcock's bloody sacked me!
A month before Cambridge entrance?
Yes, that really gave him pleasure.
Does Mr. Powlett-Jones know about this?
Him? He told the bastard in the first place.
A house servant stealing is a police matter, Hislop. Mr. Powlett-Jones had no choice.
I trusted him.
Why don't you just take a few deep breaths and we'll discuss this sensibly?
I trusted Powwow. To hell with the lot of you!
Hislop!
I demand an explanation.
I don't think I'm obliged to provide one.
The boy came to me in confidence, Headmaster. I brought it straight to you in confidence and trust.
You acted correctly. It was a police matter. The servant has been arrested.
Yes, and Hislop was sacked. I've just had his mother on the phone. She's very upset, and I think she has every right to be.
She'll calm down when she knows the facts.
What facts?
The facts that you're unaware of, Powlett-Jones. Sit down.
I'd rather stand.
Sit down. Now, before we have any more emotional outbursts, let me
Headmaster, I really think...
Do me the courtesy of hearing me out, Powlett-Jones, or leave my office now. Hislop broke into a servant's rooms and ransacked his belongings. I take it that you don't approve of that?
Not normally. Of course not, but under the circumstances...
In taking this course of action, he exposed the servant as a thief. I grant you. But what was his motive?
Oh, he's had £15 stolen.
Yes, £15. The proceeds of his running a book, I believe it's called, on Sports Day. I understand that he, I quote, cleaned up on the full 40 yards.
Oh, I see.
I assume that you will now reconsider your position.
Not altogether, no, sir. The boy's a first-class scholar, about to sit his Cambridge entrance. He came forward voluntarily. Nobody would have known about the bookmaking if he hadn't reported the theft.
You don't consider bookmaking a reprehensible offence?
Not as reprehensible as a school servant systematically stealing from the boys, no. If it wasn't for Hislop, the man would still be at it. Then we'd have a real crisis on our hands. We should be grateful to Hislop, whatever extravagant larks he's been up to.
Larks?
What about the boys who placed bets with him? Half the school must have wagered if he made a profit of £15. Are you going to expel them too?
Unfortunately, they cannot be identified.
I'm sorry, Headmaster. I think the way you've dealt with this is entirely mistaken.
Do you indeed?
You've undermined any authority I might have as housemaster of Havelocks by issuing summary justice over my head, without consultation.
I doubt if we can ever even hope to work together.
It seems unlikely.
May I expect your resignation?
No, you may not.
You don't think we're proving utterly incompatible?
Oh, I'm certain we are.
Well, then the sensible solution is surely...
You won't get rid of me as easily as Hislop, Mr. Alcock. I've given 11 years of my life to Bamfylde, and it owes me as much as I owe it.
That's irrelevant. I will not tolerate insubordination.
This isn't the army, and I'm not your sergeant.
No, nor even apparently my second lieutenant. We'll leave it there, shall we? I can't imagine we have anything left to say to one another.
Is it too much to ask you to reconsider Hislop's case?
Altogether too much, I'm afraid. You may go.
Did you ring, sir?
Yes. In the bureau. A bottle of pills.
Are you all right, sir?
It's just a touch of the old trouble, Rigby. Yes. 2 tablets, please. A glass of water.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you.
Should I send for Dr. Willoughby, sir?
No. That would be all, Rigby. Thank you.
If you're sure, sir.
Go.
Dear Ma'am, I wrote to you once that nothing seemed to change at Bamfylde. I was wrong. It has been known. I'm probably wrong now, but I can't help remembering what happened when Cortez landed in Mexico. He burned the boat so he couldn't be tempted to go back. He went on to conquer the Aztecs. I'm not going to do anything daft. I'll keep on teaching the way I always have, and I won't seek trouble. But when it comes, whether in single spies or battalions. I won't run away either. My book's out in a couple of weeks. Makes me feel exposed, as if I'm naked in a public place. I need to put some armour on, I think, for all sorts of reasons. Carter, this is a surprise.
Heard about his lot. Dash bad show.
Thanks.
Mind if I come in?
All right. He asked me to resign.
Did he?
Hmm.
Well, good thing he didn't ask me. I'd have been damn tempted to throw the job in his face. And that would have been a little premature.
You're thinking of going?
I've a little put by. My pater left me a decent chunk, and I've been quite clever with my investments. I've made an offer on my own school.
Oh, see. We miss you.
Never expected to hear that from you, old chap. Point is, you see, if I go ahead, I shall need a partner. I wondered if you'd come in with me. I know we've behaved like a couple of old fools in the past, but... Well, I haven't forgotten how you helped me over Stoke-on-Monk, and... Look, we both feel the same about Alcock. Would you be interested in buying in? It's a prep school in Kent. St. Magnus. Damn full name, eh?
What kind of money would you want?
How much could you find?
Not much more than 2,000, I'm afraid. That would be a push. How much is the lease?
5,000. And there are renovations to be done.
So I'd be coming in as a junior partner.
Well, technically, I suppose. Well, I think we could work well together, and... Well, I wouldn't lay down any conditions about seniority. Regardless of stake, we should start out level pegs.
That's very generous of you, Carter.
To my way of thinking, it would be the only way to ensure harmony. Well?
Very tempted to accept.
Good show.
Tempted, yes, but there's a little angry voice in my head telling me to stay here and fight it out.
The rebel Welshman.
Oh, something like that. Thank you, Carter, but the answer's no.
Pity. You won't change your mind?
No, I'm afraid I won't.
Then I wish you good luck, PJ. By God, you'll need it.
This is Monmouth country, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means? That the land belongs to the people. All the people. We've come out, generation after generation of us, responding to an impulse which has brought ordinary men and women into conflict with tyrants in every age. That's why, today, we hold the torch. Not just with our vote, but under trained leaders of the calibre of this young woman, Christine Forster, whose qualifications could earn her 1,000 a year if she had her eye on the main chance. My advice, for what it's worth, is lend her a hand. When the time comes, vote for her, knowing that she won't be swayed by the command of a pedant in Whitehall. Thank you very much.
Davy, you were marvellous.
Years of getting through to third formers, that's all.
Have you ever thought of going into politics?
I'm far more use in the tents of the Philistines. It did me good, though, sounding off.
You should do it more often.
I might have to if our beloved headmaster gets his way.
Can he get you out?
Not without a fight. I know he's made noises to the governors. Algy keeps me informed he doesn't like what's happening there any more than I do. 5 masters have left since Alcock took over. Good men, too. And Carter's going at the end of the term.
Oh, from what you've told me, that won't be a loss.
No, I don't know. The noble stoic makes Carter look like Francis of Assisi.
Then why didn't you take his offer?
I couldn't work for Carter.
You have to work for Alcock.
Yes, but it's
Bamfylde.
I'm sorry, I'm banging on.
Do you have to go back tonight?
Afraid so.
I was hoping I might tempt you to stay.
As a friend? Oh, very flattered.
Are you turning me down?
For tonight, yes. I don't know where I am or what I'm doing, really. There's no basis for anything, is it? What?
Just as I let my defences down, yours go up. Bad timing, eh?
You have things to achieve, Chris.
And you have a war to win.
There'll be other times, I hope. Listen, do you remember I told you about Hislop? I was in the chapel yesterday and I found a new bit of graffiti carved into the lectern. Reveniat Hislop. Hislop will return.
Good for him.
Yes.
Can I ask you a very naive question?
Anything you want?
Why is it so very important to stay at Bamfylde?
Why did you join the Labour Party?
What? There wasn't any choice. It's everything about it. What it stands for, the way I want to live. A world worth living in, a fighting chance for the future. The Labour Party is the only place I can work for that. The only place I feel at home. You clever old thing.
Algy created something very rare at Bamfylde. He encouraged every boy to find out what he was good at and work at it. To find out about himself. How can you start to change the world unless you know yourself even a little? I have to defend that. Pipe down, the lot of you. What's this about?
Your book, sir.
My book?
It's brilliant, sir. Well done.
What have you got there?
It's the review of your book, sir, in the Times.
Haven't you seen it, sir?
We're very impressed, sir.
No, I haven't seen it. To tell you the truth, I've forgotten all about it. No, I'm not being modest. I really had lost track of the dates, see?
You should do your homework, sir.
Watch it, monk.
It says you're brilliant, sir. A historian to be grateful for, sir.
Right, stop pulling my leg.
He's not, sir. Listen. The Royal Tigress is a vivid and lucid account of one of the most complex periods of British history. Author Davy Powlett-Jones...
Give it here. Let's see.
Sir, Mr. Alcott's compliments, sir. And would you present yourself in his study?
Now?
That's what he said, sir.
All right, Gage. Take over here, will you? You wanted to see me, Headmaster?
Yes. Have you seen this morning's newspaper?
Just.
Obviously, I require an explanation.
I gather it's been received very warmly.
Indeed?
I've only seen the Times. I haven't even had my author's copies. I must get on with them about that because, well, I'd like to present one to the library, if I may.
What on earth are you talking about?
The Royal Tigress. My book, Headmaster.
Book?
I'm sorry, I assumed that... What, then?
The Western Herald. Here. Is it true?
They seem to have reported it pretty accurately.
You appeared at a socialist rally in Bilhampton.
A Labour Party adoption meeting, yes.
You spoke at this rally of tyrants and martyrs?
Among other things.
You noticed they mentioned this school by name.
So it would appear.
So it would appear. Alderman Blunt's brought it to my attention. Well?
I really have no comment to make, Headmaster.
I can have you dismissed for this.
Not a chance.
Oh, yes. Behaving in a manner likely to bring the school into disrepute. I shall inform the governors immediately.
And tell them what? That I exercise my democratic right as a private citizen to speak in public. We have a Labour Prime Minister, Mr. Alcock, even if he is heading a national government.
This, taken together with your other shortcomings...
Are you saying I have no right as a master here to express my political opinions off school premises, eh? In another county?
Not when it reflects on Bamfylde. Hoist with your own petard, I think.
There are plenty of precedents for masters at Bamfylde taking part in the democratic process. I could make you a list.
I'm sure you will.
You've misjudged this, Mr. Alcock. And I think you know it. Is that all?
You arrogant little...
Yes.
I want you out of my school, Powlett-Jones.
I'm afraid I can't oblige you.
One way or another.
Are you threatening me?
Will you resign?
No.
then I will take steps to have you removed.
You must do as you think fit, sir.
Don't frighten me. If you care for this school, as you say you do, don't drag it through the mud.
I have never done anything disloyal to Bamfylde. May I go back and teach my class?
Your class? Yes. I'm appointing Barnaby as the housemaster of Havelocks from Saturday. Please clear out your rooms by Friday evening at the latest. I take it you do not dispute my authority to take this step. Isn't your class waiting, Powlett-Jones?
He's come to this, then, has it?
The situation is entirely of your own making. Rigby, get me the chairman of the governors, will you? You may go, Powlett-Jones.
Thank you for coming, Davy. Howarth?
Is this a council of war?
Well, it's all a pretty muddle. Alcock's accusing you of indiscipline and spearheading organised staff opposition.
I've done nothing I can't defend.
No, I'm sure you haven't, but that doesn't really help, does it? Now, the way the book's been received is a point in your favour, but don't underestimate the noble stoic.
How bad is it?
Bad. Blunt's dead set against you. I'm pretty certain Sir Rufus has gone over to Alcock's camp. You've got me, of course, and I think I can talk the brig round. That just leaves the anyway for a pinters.
I don't want to put you in a spot, Algy.
I'm a wily old bird, Davy. Nobody puts me in a spot unless I choose to be put there. But Alcock's let it be known that you're a rabid lefty. That hasn't helped, as you can imagine.
They can't.
No, of course they can't. I put my spoke in that particular wheel. I can wax pretty lyrical about freedom of speech, as you no doubt remember. No, the most damaging claim is that your teaching methods are eccentric.
They're not remotely eccentric.
Yes, they are.
I wouldn't have employed you otherwise.
They were.
It isn't me you have to convince.
Oh, we have no option but to go on the offensive. Write to the governors and tell them it's come to your knowledge the Stoics been slandering your teaching methods.
Oh, that would land Algy right in it.
No need to mention names. Demand a special meeting before he does.
And say what?
How many boys got a history pass last June?
19. 4 distinctions.
Out of?
28, 29.
Algy, what were the results like under Norrington before David came here?
Oh, Norrington. Half that, I'd say, even allowing for the smaller numbers.
Get hold of the figures and send in an absolutely accurate report. It speaks for itself, old man. You'll leave him without a leg to stand on. Unless he wants to bring politics into it.
And I'll put the kibosh on that.
You think that'll work?
I think it's your only hope.
The situation is grave, but not desperate. You can do it. You'd better. Ellie's already planning the cake for your victory party. You won't depose the brute, but you'll live to fight another day.
Sometimes it seems like I spent my whole life fighting.
Hurrah! You've joined the adult world at last.
Well, now it's up to me, ma'am. There's a special meeting of the governors this afternoon, 2 o'clock. Remember when you wanted Dara to leave the pet? Remember what he said? I'm a minor, he said. I was a minor when he married me, and I'll be a minor when I die. Never forgotten that. And I was so damned angry with him when the pet killed him. I never understood till now why he went on with it. Oh, I wish I could tell him that.
I called for you.
Right.
Are you ready?
Oh, as I'll ever be. Where's he?
Well, stoic. Just leaving them.
How does he look?
Stoical.
I think Algy was making a joke.
Sorry. I don't think even Max Miller could get a smile out of me today.
Here, take my hip flask. Less Napoleon.
Better not. Ready.
Please allow me to pass.
Good morning, Headmaster.
Powlett-Jones. I wouldn't keep them waiting if I were you.
No.
I shall be in my office, Howarth, should anyone require me. But unless it's urgent, I do not wish to be disturbed. Tell the servants, will you?
Headmaster?
Oh, and Howarth, you're not thinking of doing anything regrettable, are you?
If I am headmaster, you will be the first to know.
All right. Rigby. Excuse me, sir. Sorry to knock you up at this time of night. It's the headmaster, sir. I wonder if you could advise me.
About what now?
Well, he gave instructions not to be disturbed, sir. But he's still in his study. There are no lights on, the door's locked, and he won't answer when I knock. I know he could be working late, but I'm a bit worried, sir, frankly. Could you come down and take a look?
I don't think he'd welcome a visit from me. Have you got a duplicate key?
No, but I can open it, sir. With your permission. I've opened enough locked doors in this place over the years.
He's probably fallen asleep over his work.
But what if it's one of his turns, sir?
Turns?
Yes, sir. Says it's a touch of malaria from his time in the tropics. He has pills for it, sir.
You're very wise to be concerned. Go and knock up Mr. Howarth, would you, and meet me there.
Oh, good idea, sir. Right away.
Headmaster! Mr. Alcott!
Break it down, Rigby.
Right, sir. Right.
Lights, David.
Oh, no. No. Can you feel a pulse, Howard?
Hang on a minute. No. You try.
He's only unconscious, surely. Surely.
There's no pulse.
I'll call Doc Willoughby.
Oh, God.
I'd better get a blanket or something. Cover him up. It's not right to leave him like that, is it?
Good idea.
Charlacum 2-3, please.
Howarth, look. A letter. Looks like he was halfway through it.
Read it.
Oh, that's not right.
Read it, David. Mrs. Willoughby, it's Bamfylde School. Is the doctor at home? Oh, there's been a death, I'm afraid. Could you ask him to hurry straight over as soon as he gets back? Thank you. Well?
It's to Sir Rufus. I made what I consider to be a frank and full statement of the facts entirely without prejudice. You have since explained to me your reasons for ruling that statement out of order. That is your privilege, and I bow to it. At the same time, it makes my position here untenable, and I hereby proffer my... That's where it stops.
Looks like he couldn't bring himself to write the word resignation.
I've killed him.
Oh, don't be so stupid. It was almost certainly a heart attack.
I didn't mean to kill him.
You didn't do anything. He couldn't prove his case against you. Obviously, he was going to resign.
Sweet Jesus.
Where's Rigby with that blanket?
I didn't want to win like this. Oh, you sly old bastard. You had to have the last word, didn't you?
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Algy.
I'm glad my old thinking post has come in useful.
Yes, rather taken to it.
Yeah, you can't do serious thinking indoors. Too much commotion. Good, solid place, this. Get things in proportion out here. You mind if I sit down?
Oh, do. Have you spoken to Doc Willoughby?
Spoken to everybody today, one way or another. I'm personally responsible for keeping the telephone exchange in business.
And?
It was angina. The fog lifted the moment Rigby found his pills.
Angina?
I knew something was up with him. You get a feeling about people, don't you? The way he held himself in, kept the lid screwed down in case it blew off at the wrong moment. Something you'll never have to worry about, at least.
Will there be an inquest?
Oh, probably not. Don't look so gloomy, man. Doc said he's been living on borrowed time for years.
Doctors don't know everything, do they, though? What about that letter?
Willoughby was categorical. Severe emotional strain, self-induced. Self-induced, David. Lord, I sometimes think guilt is a Celtic sport.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway, you've got far more to worry about than whether or not you're 0.5% responsible for Alcock's demise. Which is very sad, of course. But I'm afraid I can hardly call it untimely. Here you are.
A cigar?
A gift from Sir Rufus. Burmese. Well, if you don't want it, I'll have it. Any idea how much these things cost?
Why would Sir Rufus send me a cigar now?
Point is, you see, with his complaint, Alcock should never have been appointed. Governor's made a blunder there. So we're being understandably cautious about making another one, which is why we've only appointed you acting head for the next 12 months. You'll have to be quicker on the uptake than that, Davy, if you're going to deal with the brigands of the upper fifth. Yes, my boy. Bamfylde's yours. Unless you make an almighty cock-up of it, and I can't see that happening. Why? Should have given it to you last time. Damn fool's going on about age. Needs a young man a place like this. Any idea what your first dirty deed as headmaster will be?
Oh, yes. I'm going to telephone Hislop's mother. I think you'll make a splendid head boy, don't you? Bamfylde.
Yes, Bamfylde. Where you belong, my boy. Always have done. I'd say you're going to be here for quite a while.
Oh, years, Algy. I'm not moving for years and years.
Do you, David Powlett-Jones, take Christine Catherine Forster to be your lawful wedded wife?
Standing here for hours. I saw you from the window.
You're Grace Powlett-Jones, aren't you? You probably don't remember me.
Are you an old boy? Let me look. It's Hislop.
Well done.
Of course I remember.
Well, you were very young.
You were very superior. Head boy. I was scared stiff of you.
Me?
Yes. And you loved it.
Probably. Look, I'm supposed to have an appointment with Power. With the headmaster. But I may just run away.
I thought our boys never ran away.
Propaganda.
What have you done to your leg?
War wound. I was in the RAF.
Do you fly Spitfires?
Yes, actually.
I say.
Mr. Hislop, I'm Christine Powlett-Jones. I'm so sorry you had to walk from the station. They've requisitioned all the cars bar one, and that's being repaired in Shallicombe.
It's all right.
Do you fly Spitfires, Chris?
Flew.
You've done your bit. Take no notice of Grace. She's very impressed by blue uniforms. Now, Grace, weren't you going somewhere?
I only to fetch some milk. It's not important. I'd much rather hear about dogfights.
Well, you can join us for tea, and you're not to bully Mr. Hislop. Go. I'm sorry. She's determined to join the Waths once she's finished her degree. It's easy to get caught up in it when you're young.
Yes.
I suppose this all looks very familiar.
A lot smarter.
Yes, well, Davy's made some improvements. Till the war came along and spoiled his plans.
Hislop.
Ah, here he is. I'll leave you to it.
Hello, sir.
It's good to see you, Hislop.
I should say straight away that I think I'm here under false pretences, sir. I've hardly any teaching experience. I'm not even sure it's what I want to do.
Anything else in mind?
No. Since I was invalided out, I've been casting around, but...
Then why not give us a try? You'd be helping me out no end. Your degree was in English, wasn't it?
Yes. Look, sir, I really think I'd better leave.
Stay and have tea, at least, now you're here.
All right. Thanks.
There's no need to go rushing back to London tonight, unless you have to. We can dig you out a toothbrush and some pyjamas, I dare say.
I don't know.
It's sports day tomorrow. You might run a book on the 440 yards.
I was a proper little tyke, wasn't I, sir?
You were all right, you were. Good upland air, that's what you need, old chap. Nothing gives a man back his sense of proportion like good, clean upland air.
You don't fancy a stab at history in the law school, do you? Tell the boys what it's really like in a dogfight.
I don't think I can talk about that.
You'll find you can. Eventually. I did.
But your lot won, sir. It's not looking like we will.
We've been up against bigger odds before, you know, like Cressy and Agincourt. I don't think Hitler will best us. And Bamfylde will go on. Surprising the difference you can make in a quiet place like this, Hislop. Very surprising. Let's walk down into school, eh? Rations or no rations, Grace makes a very decent sponge cake. And the jam is from my wife's garden. Another Bamfylde tradition.
In Part 5 of To Serve Them All My Days by RF Delderfield, dramatised for radio by Shaun McKenna, Davy was played by Oliver Milburn, Algy by John Wood, and Howarth by John Rowe. Anthony Carth was Carter, Clive Merrison, Alcock, Kate Buffery, Christine, and Anthony Glennon, Hislop. Barnaby was played by Gerard McDermott, Grace by Alison Pettitt, and Gage by Delroy Brown. The boys were played by Stephen Williams and Stephen Roberts. The director was Cherry Cookson.